Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of the Outlaw Nation Show here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw John Rocha. I'm excited tonight to welcome back one of my great and dear friends in the industry, a man whose opinion I respect on a lot of subjects, a man I've talked about or talked with about a lot of subjects ranging from sports to politics to life to this business to film criticism to movies themselves to TV shows themselves. The man knows so much about so many things. Oh, yeah, he's also a professional wrestler. So there's so much I want to get into. Of course, as you saw from the title of the video, my guest is Jay Washington. I will bring him on in just a second, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been supporting us here on the Outlaw Nation Show. Over all these shows here, we're picking up. The views are starting to pick up. The subscribers, we're close to crossing 16,000 subscribers. You know, the goal is get to that 20,000 subscribers mark as soon as we can. And so much is happening here. There's a new show launching on March 5th. Can't announce it yet what the name of it is, but it is coming on March 5th. And also for those who've been enjoying the Geek Buddies reviews of WandaVision, can't thank you all enough. We crossed 20,000 on our episode 5 review, and we just crossed 17,000 on our episode 6 review. Those have been some of the most viewed content on this channel in quite some time. So clearly, thank you so much for being a part of that, and sharing it and commenting and all of that is great. Don't forget, my guest and I, we did with JTE, we had a game time on Monday, and then we dropped the new Geek Buddies episode today. It's almost at 2,000 views already. Tomorrow we got Impolite Truths, and of course, if you're a top 10 fan, Matt Nost and I are doing our first ever The Top 10 live broadcast. We're going to record the show live. It is only for the $10 and above patrons. The link will be in the Patreon for them to come in and watch us live. They're the only ones that can watch us live. The show will be dropped on Tuesday, but you'll be able to hear the show early. That is a gift to our patrons at $10 and above. And don't forget, Friday we got ourselves Strong Style Live, and then of course Saturday is the Ultimate Schmodown After Show, the new show that is here on the channel. And then Saturday also is the Geek Buddies review of WandaVision Episode 7. And then this weekend on Sunday night, if Aaron Turner agrees to it, we might be doing an Elimination Chamber watch along. Those have been doing really well. Maybe we can convince my guest to join us for that as well. We shall see. We shall see. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to bring on to the show my friend, my co-host on Game Time, and as I said a number of times, a man whose opinion I admire. He is one half of the Blurs in the Hood. He is the host of the Mad Titan podcast. He has his own YouTube channel there and his own Patreon as well. So we're going to put those graphics up on the overlays there for any of you who might be interested in following more of what my friend Jay Washington does. So please, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome the great Jay Washington to the Outlaw Nation.
Oh, man, I appreciate that introduction, man. I feel special. I really feel important. Thank you so much for having me, man. Of course. I feel like I need to turn the brightness up on my camera, though. You know how when you have the camera, like it looked like it's dark. It just ain't letting a lot of light in. I'm here, but I can hear you. Like,
I'm just saying, it's Black History Month, man. You can be as dark as you want. Shit, I feel right? Like... And as Jay does that, just want to remind you all the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open for tonight. Send in whatever crazy things you want to ask us or whatever you want to talk about. We're going to
that's better.
Is that better? Oh, there we go. Yes, I can see you now. Let there be light.
All I have to do is let up a little bit of, turn the ISO up on the camera a little bit, let a little more light in. You know what I'm saying? So, I know I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I just got done working out. And so, it's always difficult when I'm done working out. I did a Focus C25, and so I cleaned myself off. Yeah. And then I realized all my sweatshirts and hoodies, even though I've lost weight and they're a 2XL, they're all ballooning on me. Like, they all be big as shit now. People like, what size is that, a 3? Whoa. They be like, what is that, a 3XL? I'm like, no, it's a 2, and it's so much room.
That's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. You're back. Yeah. You're back from Chicago. We're getting into all of things tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into so many things. If you saw the title or if you read the description, you know for sure what we're getting into. But just to remind you, we are going to talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a film that I've seen 3 times now since it dropped on HBO Max. I cannot get this film out of my mind. Jay tweeted about it over the weekend, and I responded back to him, and then he talked about his upbringing, hearing about those stories about the Black Panthers there in Chicago. Also, we're going to talk about Black History Month. But first, let's just touch base with Jay Washington. Jay, you're back from Chicago. You took off. What is the madness like in the Windy City right now with all the winter storms, everything was happening? Did all of that hit you while you were there?
Sir, you are acting like that is something new to Chicago. Like, you sit there talking madness. Everybody just like, well, this what happens here. See, we're not, the Midwest is not like what the South and all these other places are getting where they're like, we don't know what to do. We get it. We're just like, here we go again. That's literally how it is. I just went out there really to clear my head, as I always do, to, get some air and whatever. Yeah. And I just happened to go out in the middle of the freaking snowstorm. And so it was like, I moved because I didn't want to deal with this. Like, but again, you realize and you remember, and you're like, oh yeah, that's cold. Like we in California and Los Angeles specifically, and San Diego, we'll talk about it being cold, and they'd be like, it's not cold. You don't know cold yet. Yeah. And so, but it's always good to just go home, just to be in the environment. I don't have to go out and hang around people and do all that other extra stuff. And because people are like, yo, it's still a panorama. Like, I get it. I get we're in the middle of a Panera Bread. And so I just stay to myself pretty much, stay at one of my friends' house and just hang out, just chill and just relax and, get myself recentered and reorganized, and had to do a bunch of work while I was out there. I literally in the middle of game time was like, I got to go. I had an audition. Yeah. So. Wow.
Are you now? What if you found? I've been meaning to ask you this. I haven't found a moment to ask you, so I'll ask you this on the show. It seems like you, and we'll specifically talk about you because you're on the show here. It seems like you're getting more auditions than I remember you getting in the past. Not that you haven't got auditions in the past, but it feels like the residue or the reaction to the Black Lives Matter situation has been to bring in more people of color, more Black people specifically. Am I incorrect on that?
Yes and no. And here's why I said it. When it comes to auditions, I've learned that a lot of these projects don't even know what they're looking for. Especially when it comes to commercials. They'll say, we're looking for this type of person, but then, case in point, I auditioned for a role in that movie Shotgun Wedding, the one that was supposed to have Armie Hammer that now has Josh Duhamel and Jennifer Lopez. But the role I auditioned for, my buddy J.D. Witherspoon auditioned for it, and my buddy Ron Funches auditioned for it.
I know Ron.
We are three different type of dudes. Right. But then we saw who got it because they announced the cast. It's one of the guys from You're the Worst. So it's there's always they put a lot of things out there. But also, yes, there's not much of it anymore. I'll be honest. The first 2-3 months of the whole Black Lives Matter movement last year, there was a lot more of, hey, we want you to come talk on this, or hey, would you come in and audition for this and do that? And it was a lot of those different things, and it was cool. But I always knew, even from the beginning when it was happening, I said this, it was only going to be momentarily. Because it was going to be very much fleeting, because everybody always says, oh, we're going to amplify Black voices, we're going to uplift this, we're going to do this and do that. And it always has a shelf life, unfortunately. Especially even Black History Month being now, people say, oh, we're going to do this. I'm like, miss me with all that, because you're not going to do it past February 28th. Right. So, granted, also, people have left LA. Yeah. Yes. People have left throughout the whole pandemic. People have left and gone back to their hometowns. Yeah. So, the odds of getting called in and potentially booking something is a little bit higher. Yeah. It also helps that I lost a lot of weight. It also helps that I'm getting better shape, skin's clear and all that other good things. So it's a lot of different, honestly, it is. It's a lot of different factors, because when I was heavier, I would only go out for certain things. Right. I would only be in the realm for certain things. Now I'm able to be potentially positioned in different places. So it's great to have that. It is sometimes exhausting, but it's the career I chose. Yeah. On top of doing everything else. So.
Do you feel like you're in a better place now than you were like maybe a year ago or 2 years ago? I know you battled a lot with some mental health stuff. I know you considered multiple times going back to Chicago and leaving LA permanently, and you stuck it out. Do you feel like it's kind of turned around for you for at least a little bit, that it feels like you're in the right place at the right time for yourself?
Yeah, I do. At the point career-wise, I do think I, made a good decision sticking it out, because I never wanted to be one of those people who said, well, if I leave and I'm gone, then like, what could have happened?
Right.
You know, I'm glad I stuck it out. I have, you know, there are things I'm still dealing with on a personal level, you know, to an extent, but I persevere through those. I push through those moments. I consistently, you know, hunker down and put my feet, you know, put myself to the grindstone and just keep going. I use all those cliches, but that's how I am, you know, even despite any odds and obstacles, you know, right now, like one of the biggest things is not working. You know, we do these things. We do these being on camera and doing these shows and try to raise these funds, et cetera, et cetera. But I was also working as a bouncer, you know, on top of acting. And again, I also know it's the career choice I made. So things, you know, whatever befalls that, I have to accept that. But also at the same time, I was working, I was tired of being a medical insurance biller. I was tired of doing office jobs, you know. So, but it's just a matter of, you know, really pushing forth. And for me, overall, my faith and my belief in God has gotten me through everything, because if it wasn't for that, I would probably be back in Chicago permanently. If it wasn't for my belief in God that this is what I'm destined to do and where I'm meant to be, you know, things will change, you know, other than that.
What have you found now? What is the motivation now? You know, both of us in our own ways, with our own lives, have struggled with our weight and confronting the losing and the gaining and what have you. What is the motivation now that's different for you as you're working out, as you're losing the weight? It's not, it seems to me like it's not about trying to attract women or trying to get it's more about like trying to live a healthier lifestyle. It's what it sounds like to me from watching your Instagram, reading your tweets and what have you. Do you find that you're in a different frame of mind now in your approach to getting back into shape for yourself?
Absolutely. Again, everything is different now with my workouts and losing weight because of me almost dying in 2018.
Right.
I will always go back to that. You know, people may get tired of hearing the story, but that was my rebirth. That is the thing that will always be the catalyst for the change for me. The fact that I was almost out of here on my own without, you know, just nobody knowing. I almost was just gone.
Right.
And that was it. And so to have that second chance, if you will, to know that, okay, first and foremost, it starts with me taking care of myself, you know, watching what I eat, working out better, and actually knowing what I'm doing, not BSing and all these other things. And so it has been the focus of staying healthy. And also, I have a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old. Those two are the reason I bust my ass nonstop. It's yes, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy being on stage telling jokes. I enjoy being in front of a camera talking nerd stuff and being in front of a camera acting or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, it's to leave a legacy and a stamp and make sure things are better and easier for my children. And so working out means for me, you know, I'm living this. I'm adding years to my life to be there for theirs.
Yeah, I mean, and when I think about you and the conversations we've had I've sensed in the years past, you were one of these men who was very vocal, very on top of it, very willing to speak your mind and go into the fray and what have you. And you're still doing that now in Twitter. But do you feel, and I want to ask this correctly, do you feel as a black man in this country, we're in Black History Month. This is all this stuff is coming out to kind of explore the black experience. We're on the other side of the Black Lives Matter situation, as you mentioned earlier, Jay. What's your feeling now at this stage in 2021 of being a black man in America versus how being a black man in America was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago? What do you feel about the status now?
It almost feels equivalent to being a black man in the 60s and 70s. It's like history is repeating itself.
Interesting. Okay, talk to me more about that.
I mean,
please.
Granted, we have more outlets, technology, things have advanced, but look at the struggles we go through. Look at how we're seeing videos of black men, black kids, a 9-year-old being treated like a deranged criminal by the police. We're having these things now. Being a black man, again, I will go to the Amy Cooper, Christian Cooper situation where she called the police on this man bird watching, was weaponizing her whiteness.
Yes.
You know, you have these things where as a black man, you know, we are supposed to transcend race, quote unquote. We're supposed to be in a country that is moving past the racial divide, which we've never done it because we've never openly acknowledged it. So you can never move past something when you've never openly acknowledged it. When you always keep saying, well, we're trying to get better, you've never acknowledged what it directly is.
Right.
So being vocal as I have been, has there been moments it probably has bitten me in the ass? Absolutely. Do I care? Absolutely not. Because why? If you are willing to stomp me and put a roadblock in front of me because you're like, oh, I can't work with him or do this with him because he speaks his mind too much, then I don't want to be involved with you. I won't speak my mind to the point where it's detrimental to so many people, to a project and as a whole. I will speak on the subject as candidly as need be.
Yeah. You're talking about speaking your mind into a point of conversation. You're not talking about speaking your mind, dropping the bomb and walking out of the room. You're trying. I mean, it seems, and this is what I sense now is this. All right. Those of us who can actually look at this thing objectively, we understand that there is systemic racism within this country and in a lot of countries, by the way. Let's make that very, very, very clear. This is not just an American problem. As a fan of international soccer / international football, there are campaigns against racism throughout every sports league that does football in multiple countries across Europe and other places. They have a huge program to end racism. So it is very much systemic within what's happening in our world. And here what we see, what you just brought up a few seconds ago, that dropped, I think today or yesterday, that white woman who A, got her dog back, and B, all the charges were dropped on her calling the cops on a man for being black in the park.
Because she went to 5 therapy sessions, so they believe she's learned her lesson. And Winston and I spoke on this on Blurts in the Hood yesterday. That is indicative of the BS that happens in this country all the time, of how it's like, oh, it's okay. They said we're sorry. You need to move forward. I saw somebody in the comments say, oh, you can't move past race when you always talk about it. We're going to have to always talk about it, especially me as a black man, because my life is predicated on my color of my skin first and foremost. Never think otherwise. People always say you're an American first. That's a goddamn lie when it comes to black men and especially black women in this country. We are our color first before we are even acknowledged as a human.
Yeah.
We're not even allowed. We're just not. You're black. You're black. You're brown. We're looked at as that before we're ever acknowledged as a human. And people will say, "Well, look at this example. Look at that example." Those small examples aren't indicative of the whole, because the whole always shows I will be looked at as a black man before you ever speak to me. I'll be looked as a black person before you ever hear a word that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You will automatically say, oh, it's a black guy. I don't know what he's going to say. But then you hear me speak or you get to know me and you're like, holy shit, this isn't what I expected it to be, because you've already given yourself a preconceived notion. Yeah. And you find that more and more. And, I wonder and the thing that's, I'm open to mind, I'd love to hear what you think, Jay. The thing that's starting to come to me as I stay in essence in the West Coast, as I see from the outside looking into these situations happening, is that there is racism occurring systemically on both sides of the political spectrum. Of course, there is a lie that liberals have been telling themselves for years about their diversity, and there's a lie, obviously, this more overt lie that's being told on the conservative side of things about racism in this country. And I find that to be one of the most fascinating things now, that liberals are people are trying to wake up these liberals to the racism that has been occurring under their watch for so long, where they've been yelling at the other side and ignoring what's actually happening in their own backyard. You always have that. You're always going to have that. You're always going to have, look, when it came to the Women's March, it was supposed to be intersectional. When it wasn't. It quickly went to being about white women. The Me Too movement was started by a black woman. So automatically within that should have included intersectionality. When you have these liberals, these woke people, do you know how many times I've gotten into it? But like, you have to tell certain white people, I'll keep it real, yo, don't speak up for me. Don't speak up. We can speak up for ourselves. Right. And then they will get upset. Well, I'm trying to help you. Like, yo, calm your ass down, because this isn't your battle. Right. This isn't your battle. They're almost co-opting. They're almost colonizing your battle. And that's exactly what it is. Right. They're actually trying to co-opt it to make themselves look better. Again, we've always said, and we consistently have to say, the onus is not on black people to tell you how to end racism. Right. The onus is not on black people to give you the tools, the clues, or anything else. Figure it out for yourself. And because you think you vote a certain way, again, I hate people using always political affiliation when it comes to racism, because political affiliation has nothing nothing to do with it. Now, I don't care if you go back in the day before the sides flipped their ideologies or whatever the case may be. Political affiliation has zero to do with it. There are people who literally believe that they are better, they know more, or they can speak to it because they've experienced something. You can't experience, if you're not a black person, you can't tell what a black person has experienced. If you're not a black man, you can't tell a black man what he has experienced. If you're not a black woman, you can't tell her. A black man cannot tell a black woman what she has experienced.
Right.
And so you have it where you definitely have, especially in Los Angeles and California, where everybody who does not live in this city or the state automatically believes that the entire state of California is just based on what Los Angeles is, when that's not the case. Because the fact of the matter remains, if Los Angeles or San Francisco don't exist, California is a red state. People need to understand that. California is a red state outside of San Francisco and Los Angeles, but because those are the two most heavily populated cities within the entire state, because they go blue, the state goes blue. It is the same thing with Chicago and Illinois. Illinois within itself is a red state, but because Chicago goes blue, Illinois goes blue.
Yeah, fair. And we saw that certainly in the election, how some of those results changed from the opening results to the next day when they were able to count those votes in the more heavily populated multicultural areas, how that really changed things on the
electoral. The ones they didn't want to count, because remember, when you're gerrymandering and when you're all of a sudden, when you're trying to take these votes away, when you're sitting here trying to, just hinder the people from voting, when you're trying to make sure, these people shouldn't be able to vote and do all this. Then when they do vote, you're upset because you're like, fuck, they voted. They figured out a way to get through the system, which we tried to make it where they couldn't do it.
Yeah. Other moments, Jay, I mean, you must feel helpless or exasperated or just hopeless at times when you see that black people in this country, male and female, they get one step of progress, there's like 2 or 3 steps of getting pushed backwards. Is this where you feel like things are now, that no matter how much we've progressed, and we'll get to the fact that we're seeing more and more black filmmakers get a shot to do their films now, but like you seeing, though, there is still the pushback, the very strong pushback going on in this country to this idea. What are people afraid of? What do you think it is that people fear about the black man and the black woman in this country?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending exhaustion. Because you just like, every time you look up, you're like, here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. You consistently have that. So you're never going to be past that exhaustion, no matter how much we move forward, no matter how many steps we make forward, no matter how much ground we break. Now, when you have it where people are like, oh, why do we have to tell these stories? Because these stories have never been told and been suppressed for so long. It is the analogy I remember using back in the day when it came to the Jordan Peele situation was, imagine you have a river, right? The river just flows naturally, but then you put a dam in front of this river and the water just keeps hitting it and going back. After a while, the pressure that keeps hitting that dam is going to break it. And then all of this water is going to flood through. And so now you're going to have this wave wash over until things finally level themselves back out. That is what's happened. Instead of allowing the progress of black voices, brown voices, Latino voices, all different cultures to openly and evenly be spread throughout this world. I mean, I can go to the world, but just in this country, now you're inundated with it consistently. So now you're thinking like, oh my God, there's this woke movement. It's not a woke movement. It's just the fact that it should have been done a long time ago. If you'd allowed it to happen when it was happening, instead of trying to hinder it, you wouldn't be seeing it so much and feel like now you're the minority behind it, quite honestly. Because here's the thing people keep trying to say. People keep worrying about black supremacy. That's not a thing. That can't be a thing. Why? No. Black people are 16% of the United States of America. Now, why do we want equality in things? Because black people contribute to more than 75% of the things in the United States of America. If you do not believe it, drive your car and don't pay attention to a traffic light, because guess what? A black man invented that, to use as an example. But you have all these things where black people have put forth so much, and we are part of the culture, not even just what we have given, but also our financial contributions. Our financial contributions are phenomenal to the culture. Again, if our financial contributions weren't as lucrative as they are, then the situations with the Black Wall Street, the Philadelphia bombing, and so many more would have never happened.
Yeah. And that's what you see. I mean, we just saw, Jay, about, I think a few days ago, we're both sports fans, how this was it a city in Utah that did not want to celebrate or teach Black History Month. And two of the Utah Jazz players called this school out of the school district out, and they changed their minds and put it back together. So it's so funny to me that there's still this effort to not talk about Black people's contributions in this country in certain states, and I just don't know why.
Because they feel it belittles themselves. Difficult. It's so easy. It's easy because there's this ingrained insecurity. Yeah. The belief that if I'm not a Black person and I actually mention, I've always downgraded and belittled these people and said, look at the news. Look what the news just shows you. They're all robbers and all type of violent criminals. This is what just the news shows you. But then if I start to celebrate these accomplishments, which far outweigh the negativity, then you're like, oh shit. Well, what is this really? Because now all of a sudden you're like, wait, they really aren't that. It's just a small microcosm. Yeah, because just as much as people do that for Black people, we could do that for any other race in this country. If you focus on it, you will find it. It doesn't matter. And so Utah has always been what Utah is going to be. Plain and simple. Utah, Wyoming, other places like that. You want to believe you are superior, but you don't have any superiority to show for it.
Right.
And I'm not just saying as far as your race as a whole, but what can you say you're better than? If you come at me and you say, well, white people are better than Black people in every single way, then I'll say, okay, then tell me why 80% of athletes in all major sports are Black, pretty much.
Right.
Number one. Well, tell me why some of the highest grossing movies that have made so many waves now are Black written, Black directed, or Black starred.
Right.
But again, it's never trying to say we're better than. But when you want to try to belittle, we're like, okay, you want to play that game, we're going to drop this on you real quick. Yeah. We're going to drop that on you. But Black people have never sat there and said, okay, well, we know we better. We like, we just want the same thing. And then when Black people start making their own that is a quote unquote equivalent to it, there's a problem, i.e. the BET Awards. No matter how people may feel about the awards of themselves as a whole, the reason the BET Awards were created were because Black artists, whether they be in music, film, television, et cetera, were not being celebrated and appreciated. So we made our own. And so then you had those idiots who said, well, what if we made a white entertainment television? Or what if we made this, that? And was like, you do. It's called the Oscars. It's called the Golden Globes. Look at how they, look at the nominations for that, but again, that's the Hollywood foreign press. I don't expect them to honestly acknowledge Black people like that.
Right. Yeah, I find that to be a fascinating thing, Jay, because you do see it in the Black community, certainly in other communities of color, and there is a separation. I want to make that really clear. I've seen Black people become more and more upset over on Twitter and other places, and reading articles from some very learned people who speak about, don't put me in a community of color. In that way, you're erasing my Blackness again. And I think that's important for people to understand, because no other people were taken off a continent and dragged in chains over the Middle Passage here. No other community of color has that in their ancestry.
But also, let me add an addendum onto that before people say that. People are like, well, some Black people sold other Black people in slavery. Yes, that happens in every culture. We get that. The fact of what happened in the homeland is one thing, but when it was brought here and it was monetized is a whole different story. Now, going to what you said, Black people have gotten, this people of color shit for Black people gotta stop. And especially now this whole BIPOC, Black indigenous people, stop that, because what you're doing is you're trying to group us all together as if everybody has the same struggle, and we don't. Because I've always said this, do not label me with those when people who fall in that people of color range will still hate on me as a Black person in a heartbeat. True. So do not ever label me as you're a person of color. No, I'm a Black man is what I am. I'm a Black man first and foremost. That person of color, because I've seen a person of color who may be of Asian descent, who may be of Latinx descent, who hates on me because I'm a Black man. So, and when I'm supposed to be thinking, oh man, we're all people of color. We're all together. We come together. But that person in the person of color realm doesn't look at me the same.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And that's, I've said this before, like, in the Latin community, there is a lot of racism towards Black people in the Latin community. I have seen it. I've experienced it. I have family members who have freely been overtly racist right in front of me about it. That has made me either leave their house or leave the table if we're at a family reunion, or just completely walk away from it, or completely walk away from having any communication with that side of my family, because it is embarrassing. It's disgusting to see, and it's so inherently ridiculously stupid, because should be a shared desire to achieve a certain level of respect and equality in this country, but other communities don't struggle the way that Black communities struggle. They just don't. Doesn't mean the struggles aren't similar. They are, but they're not at the level that Black people struggle with, for sure. And that's what I've discovered over my life.
Well, and also allow me to say this. Yeah. It's not saying that Black people have the end all be all of the struggle list. Right. Because some people think that, like, oh, well, they're saying that Black people are the only ones that struggle and their struggles are the worst. No, here's the thing. You've seen our struggles on TV and film in regular everyday life for the past, since television was a thing. It's documented in history to the point where historians don't want to tell it. Schools don't want to tell it. That's why there's a Black History Month, because schools want to leap over things real quick. Like, let's talk about slavery. That was a bad time. Next, that's how they do it. And so our struggle, you know, when people sit there and you watch races, just like, oh, I just don't like Black people. For why? I just don't know. Okay, so tell me what Black person hurt your feelings? Anytime I see a dude that openly says he don't like Black people, especially if he's a white guy, what Black dude took your girl? Right. That's the first thing I have to ask you, because many times, and it sounds like it's joking, you have a dude who's insecure where, oh man, they're well endowed, et cetera, and she may have wanted him, or, you know, you might have lost a job that you quote unquote say was affirmative action, but it was all actuality, it was qualifications. There's a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jay, you know, for sure. Let's get into some of these. I've gotten a couple of Streamlabs. Oh, wow. I've gotten a few Streamlabs and Super Chats. Let's run it. Please, people, keep sending in your support for the show. You see the Super Chat right above our heads. You see the Streamlabs address there. I'm sorry. You see the Streamlabs address right above our heads there. And you can always send in Super Chats as well. Let's get through a few of these, Jay, and we'll move on to the next section of our conversation. Chris Taylor says, Jay, for a Blurds episode, you have to play John Witherspoon's When My Love Goes Bang Bang.
I would if we wouldn't get pulled. I would, to be honest, if we wouldn't get pulled.
Yeah, and you do. That's what I'm discovering as well. Let's see. Stupid Stars Music says, we can't turn a blind eye to slavery and racism. The fact the Tulsa Massacre wasn't mentioned in my school is BS. I'm a white man, and it bothers me. Yeah, Jay, what about that? I mean, people fell all over themselves to compliment Watchmen and their approach to the Tulsa Massacre. But did those same people go, okay, now let me do that extra effort to explore what other massacres or riots or overtly racist acts against Black people trying to achieve some level of financial freedom occurred in this country?
Well, there are some. I won't say all did, but the problem is saying, oh my God, I didn't know this. Why wasn't this taught? That's one thing. The thing becomes, do you go to your school districts to make sure this is taught now? Okay, you know, you saw it, you didn't know it. Oh my God, I was never taught this in school. Oh God, there are more. How come no one is learning this? Now you go to your school district, you go to your PTA meetings, you see, you add that it be inserted into the curriculum, that people need to know these things. These things happen. This is not something you glance over in history. This is not just a little point, just, okay, cool, that happened, let's move on. It's not that.
Right. Absolutely. J.A. says, thanks for discussing this. My indigenous brother passed away in custody due to a suspicious incident with corrections officers. Racism is alive. Yeah, we do hear about this stuff, Jay.
Sandra Bland will always stand out. You have so many people. Sandra Bland, there was another young brother. Again, my condolences to you, J.A. But there's another young brother who was handcuffed from behind, and police say he shot himself in the head. What? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Like we consistently hear about these things.
When do you think? I mean, this is the thing that I look at here. And look, I'm not against, and we want to make this clear. And this is what this is all about. I think Jay and I are in the same. Like, we're not against having a police force that keeps us safe and monitors things. What we're asking for is understanding and equality. And
let me go one further. For what I'm gonna say.
Please.
as a black man, and black people have said this, the police need to be reformed for one reason and one reason alone.
Yeah.
The only reason police officers were ever made in this country was because they started out as the slave patrol to catch runaway slaves, which is why inherently the police force is negative towards black men and women because of its roots. And until that reform from its foundation, from its genes, its gene pool is changed, then it will never change. When we say we want reform in the police, people say, you just don't want police officers. No, I don't want racist pieces of shit who were bitches in high school get their asses whooped. Not because they get a badge and a gun, they think they the man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. And that's the problem here. You're looking at bringing in people into the police force who understand the community they're monitoring, who are part of the community. You know, for every time they show a police officer doing double dutch with a bunch of black kids on the side, there's like all these other stories of police officers taking 4 young girls, daughters, out of a car, putting them face down in the asphalt with both male and female cops pulling their weapons on them at a stop in a parking lot in a store. And you see this kind of stuff, and it is so just mind-blowing. And this is not about, you don't understand the job. No, at some point, the eye test is the truth. And you're seeing this stuff, and all people are asking for is for this kind of shit to stop once and for all.
When people say you don't understand the job, first of all, if you are a police officer, you understand your job. You know the risk no matter what. And I understand, yes, you want to make it home to your family or just home yourself. I get it.
Yeah.
But there is nothing. This is not a third world country where 9-year-olds are turned into soldiers. This is not that. There's nothing that says a 5, 6, 7-year-old is going to, a black 5, 6, 7-year-old, a 9-year-old is going to be that much of a threat to your life. Whereas if you flip it over and you have a 5, 6, 7, and 9-year-old white child, you are not doing the same thing. When people understand that is the part when you say, well, you don't know. I know for a fact a cop will not put a 5, 6, 7, and a 9-year-old white child's face in a ground on a hot summer day in a parking lot. I know it will not happen. We all know. To say that it won't is to try to be blatantly ignorant to the fact.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I wonder. Like, I've said this before, and I'll reiterate it here. If black policemen and women were doing these actions towards white members of the community, the situation would explode.
Did you hear about the black cop that shot the white woman?
Tell me.
It was, I can't remember the full story, but he shot the white woman. His ass was slammed so fast. They slammed his ass so quick.
Yeah.
So quick.
Yeah, right. And that's the inherent double standard in the situation. Is this, if this was happening, I mean, if black cops were killing, college age white men who are in their cars and doing the things they're doing, or women, or were they kneeling? If George Floyd was a white man and that was a black cop kneeling on a white man's neck, they'd have lost their minds. And
no, they would have brought the needles for the lethal injection and the chair to his house to plug it in. They would have brought it to his home.
Yeah, and that's the thing that drives me nuts, because there's this inherent just acceptance, it seems like, that this is a situation that won't turn around because not enough white people are going to force them to turn it around. And I was having this conversation with Laura Kelly for Jedi Way. Like, we were going to talk about the history of racism and how Star Wars has tried in their own, at times clumsy or awkward way, and at times good way, to try to turn around having more people of color, try to bring more women in, try to bring more people of color into the franchise. And she's like, I'm a white woman. What does it matter what I have to say? And I said, no, actually, it is important. There needs to be more white people louder screaming from the rooftops that there needs to be change here.
Here's the thing.
Black people are doing it for generations.
Yeah, but the thing
hasn't changed anything.
Yeah, but the difference is us screaming because we're the victims of it. We're the ones, we're the recipients of all the bullshit. A white woman or a white man just screaming about it and doing no action means nothing.
Fair.
You
screaming
can
and actions.
Yeah, you can just scream it and holler and talk about it. I can see a bunch of white women and white dudes make videos like this and make PSAs and do fucking imagine videos all day about systemic racism in this country all day. But until there is actual action, until there is actually, okay, we need to go march to these police departments. We need to talk to these police unions because you want to go one step further. You once you invoke action, then things can make a change. But when you start saying just, I'm speaking out about it, well, so the fuck what?
Yeah, right. Where's the action that's supposed to follow what you're talking about for sure? Yeah, great points, Jay. All right, DGMC says, Horseman! Greetings to my favorite Chicago Bears tight end of all time. Moxley versus Kenny Omega at Revolution in an exploding barbed wire death match. There's a chance someone may legitimately die live on this pay-per-view. So there's that.
Yeah, okay.
Jay?
Yeah, okay. Look. Japan can do it and die. We just like, well, that's what they do. They are not gonna. You're gonna have the best. Again, this is Tony Khan. Yeah, money on money. So special effects are going to be in place. Yeah. The explosions are going to look phenomenal. But you're gonna be like, oh my god. Nobody is fucking exploding. Now the barbed wire, yes, people gonna get cut up, but guess what? They clip the barbs. You're not gonna have actual barbed wire where they ain't clip shit. They're none. No, let me tell you something. Movie, as somebody who works on movies, movie magic, baby.
Fair point, Jay. I see Chris Taylor sent in a Streamlab. He said, Jay, how about this? The creators from Black Lightning's next project being a Static Shock TV show.
Hell no. Here's why I say.
Tell me.
So, there is a Static Shock movie happening from Reggie Hudlin, from Dennis Cowan, from the members of Milestone. Dennis is a friend of mine. I've had pleasure meeting him in Salt Lake City. I was honored to meet him, and we've been cool. Yeah. I really don't want Salim to touch fucking Static Shock, okay? I just don't want Salim. And people gonna be like, yo, I thought you was cool. I just don't want Salim to touch Static Shock.
Fair enough. Okay. Doug Developer says, hi, Jay. What's your secret to staying positive and upbeat each day, despite the decades and centuries of racist history? Yeah, I think this is a fair point. Hearing China virus can absolutely ruin my day, but it doesn't hold a candle to decades of police brutality and racial profiling. I imagine Doug is of Asian descent. So when he says that, I understand the place he's coming from. So Jay, yeah, he asks a good question. What is it that keeps you positive and upbeat as you deal with this stuff, in your community?
You have to look to, I look to my faith, plain and simple, because I have to believe in my heart that there is, throughout all this darkness, this gloom, with the feeling of gloom and doom, that there is going to be a better and brighter day for my children, even if I don't see it. Right. That my kids see it, that my kids' kids see it. Because yes, it is very difficult every single day where you're like, oh man, I'm having a good day so far. I'm joking, I'm laughing, blah, blah, blah. Then you see something, you're like, well, here we go again. I can't tell you the amount of times that Winston and I have literally been ready to do blurbs and some more shit happens. And we both like, nope. Because we're constantly inundated by it. Yeah. And so you have to just push, people like, well, I can just get high for the day and drink. And it's like, those are only momentary, fixes. Right. Like, I don't want to smoke all day. I only smoke rarely just for my anxiety. I don't even smoke every day like that. Drinking, I've taken pretty much out my vocabulary, unless it's a celebration for something. But you just have to try to hope sometimes can be feigning because of what it looks, because it's so dark. Right. A lot of times you lose hope in your career. I know a lot of times I feel like I've lost hope where I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to get anything, and not even just like, it's times where, from stand up to, I just got a dope opportunity for stand up about to happen soon that I'm still wild out that they hit me up about, they hit up my agent about. And so when you have certain things, it's what those things that remind you there are better days ahead.
Yeah. Great points, Jay. Absolutely. Hope that helps you out there, Doug Developer, and what he's saying. F James 72 says, I just want to show some support. Appreciate that, F James 72. Very kind. Yeah, please keep sending in your Streamlabs Super Chat small bots, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, not small bots, sorry, but the Streamlabs and Super Chats. Really,
you confused what show you on?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
He was like, "Yeah, the Schmobot." They were like, "Where the fuck is the Schmobot?
Where do we get a robot to speak our stuff?" But let's get into why I asked you to come on the show here, Jay. Judas and the Black Messiah came out this past Friday. As I said earlier on the show, I have watched this thing 3 times now. I think a film like this hasn't moved me since maybe Do the Right Thing and a couple of other films that I might not be thinking about right now. But of course, this film is a biographical drama about the betrayal of Fred Hampton, who, by the way, was 20 to 21 years old in the events of this film. 21 years old, and he was leading the Black Panthers there in Illinois. He was the chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party in the late 1960s in Chicago. He was betrayed by William O'Neill, who's played by Lakeith Stanfield in the movie, and an FBI informant. And Jay, I did not know the full details of this story. I did not know that this gentleman, what happens to this gentleman after he appears on Eyes on the Prize 2, that PBS documentary. I did not know the ins and outs. I knew about Fred Hampton. I knew about the Black Panthers, read about all the stuff, but I did not know the ins and outs of this story until I watched this movie. And it is such a pull no punches movie that explores what was happening here between the Black Panthers and the police department in Chicago. Will you tell me, what was your
reaction? A little bit higher?
Go ahead, please.
The U.S. Department of Justice.
Yeah, the Department of Justice. Yeah, under Hoover. Yes, absolutely.
To find out how racist J. Edgar Hoover was. Cross-dressing, self-hating gay J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah. Blatant, just barbaric racist.
Yeah.
And it shows you all that. It shows you how far they were going to stop Black progress. How everyone thought the Black Panthers were just the literal equivalent of the KKK, when there was no. The Black Panthers' protection was of the police, who were just invading Black neighborhoods. Again, when he kept saying, we're about feeding these babies, we're about making these clinics, this is things that he did, that Fred Hampton, they were about, the Black Panthers as a whole. They were about, that was their mission, to provide for the community, to help build the community. Our communities have been ravaged so many times over. We are going to instill a force to help build and protect our communities.
Right. And you see that throughout the movie. And it's very reminiscent of what Malcolm X would speak about all the time. It's about independence, self-reliance, not needing. I mean, one of the greatest lines he ever said was, I would be a fool to sit in at a counter to force someone to feed me and then trust that man to go back into the kitchen and make food for me and think I'm going to eat it. It's not going to have poison in it. And that is such a powerful statement he made. It really turned my mind around when I was a young man in my 20s about the idea of racism in this country, and that Black people in the March for Civil Rights, it is not a monolith, never been a monolith, and there are multiple points of views when you approach the situation. I'll even do a really, really small example of it tonight on my hangout with my patrons. 3 of my Black patrons said that they hate the fact, well, not hate, but they're not comfortable with the fact that there is now a Black movie slice in the Schmodown, that it kind of takes away the fact that these Black movies can now pop up in other categories. They have to be exclusive. Whereas I know the people pushing for it wanted to highlight the idea that Black movies weren't being asked about in the Schmodown. So once again, points.
Oh, you want my thought on that?
You want my thought if you want? I'm just putting it out there. Points of views that are different.
Right. We are not a monolith. Number one, Black people have different points of views. But when you see people, because we bring that up, and then people say, oh, well, when a Black person thinks this way, it's because we know everyone doesn't think the same, but it does not mean we have to agree in their thinking right, and they're thinking for the best interest of Black people as a whole. Right. Now, when it comes to Black cinema, we have said that. I remember when I was adamantly and actively a part of this show, and we're like, yo, what about Black movies? The problem is, and I'm just going to say it, a lot of competitors don't want to watch Black movies, plain and simple. You're not going to have a bunch of competitors watching Black movies unless it's a Denzel movie, a Will Smith movie. Right. Somebody has to be in it that is prominent. They're not going to sit up and watch a Baps. They're just not. They're not going to sit up and watch How to Be a Player.
Or Soul Plane.
Or Soul Plane. They're not going to watch these. Now, it is not saying that those movies will not be able to appear in other slices, right? But you need to honor and respect Black cinema because it has been a pivotal part of cinematic history.
Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, there are attempts to make the changes, but are they the right attempts? I don't know. We'll see. And I'm certainly in no way denigrating this road. I'm just presenting multiple points of views.
Absolutely.
how this situation in a microcosm is approached overall. And you look in the movie here, we're seeing, Jesse Plemons' character as an FBI, a real life FBI agent, who, by the way, helped to capture these killers of 3 civil rights workers in the South. Very reminiscent to Mississippi Burning. By the way, Mississippi Burning, not an accurate film at all, a fictional film for sure, based on real life investigations. Though, but you look at the situation here, and he's using Lakeith Stanfield. And Jay, you said it on Monday's Game Time. You said, what is it? The skin was it? Sometimes people are not, and just because
all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
All skin folk ain't kinfolk, right? So Lakeith Stanfield, they use him to betray Fred Hampton, and what happens in the movie. Don't want to ruin it for people who haven't watched it, but Jay, I had no idea that this was as bad as it had gotten in that city of Chicago in the late 60s, 1968 to be specific. This idea of that scene where the policemen are antagonizing the Black Panthers at their own building. And it is this fear, isn't it, of Black independence within the American community. There is a genuine fear of Black people embracing power, Black people becoming financially independent, Black people being able to support themselves and not need the white hierarchical power structure to survive. Is this what this stems from? This anger within the
It's always been that way. It's always been that way. And one of the things that is said in that movie at the time, which is said in 1968, and it's important I tell you that date. He says Chicago is the most segregated city in the country.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It is 2021. Chicago is still the most segregated city in the country to this day.
Yeah.
And you have had that where you try to pick up remnants of the Black Wall Street from Tulsa and redo it again, make communities and make Black banks and Black businesses where the Black dollar only circulates within these communities and whatnot. And because you have whites who feel like, oh, what, you think you're better than us? No, you wanted to show, you said you were better than us. And you said, oh, we need you. We wanted to show you we don't need you. And because you didn't like that, you hated that, the police have always been antagonistic of Black people. And the Panthers caught it the hardest. Again, you see that movie in 68, 1984, 85, 86, something like that, when Chicago's first Black mayor, Harold Washington, no relation, was elected. It was a big deal because it was a Black man elected mayor of Chicago.
Yeah. After
After the Dailies, who owned the city, Jane Byrne, then to turn around after Harold Washington to have the Daily Jr. and whatnot. And so you have, again, Black people trying to make their own, but as every time it seems like a Black person becomes in a position of power, people have this fear. The fear is this overall, namely white people, when it comes to racism, because this is what it is Black and white. They have a fear that Black people are going to do to them what they did to us. And that has never been the case.
Right.
That has never been the case. So the fear is if Black people build up their own things up, their own neighborhoods, their own communities, they're going to start treating white neighborhoods and white communities like that in the city. Never was the case. Never has been the case. They just wanted to be self-reliant and self-sufficient.
Yeah. Yeah, like you see in much of those white communities who police themselves, the neighborhood watch, all these kind of things. You've got those. I've just discovered moving into a residential area that there's that app that you can get where people who are homeowners, and I'm not a homeowner, we're just renting, but people can get on that app and start to let people know about who they think is suspicious. And I saw a Black man walking here, or a Black woman walking here, and what was this all about? Or like you see that and you're just like, wow. Can you imagine if that was happening on the other side of things and it was Black people talking about who's this strange white man walking in our house, walking in our neighborhood rather? These are the things that I find to be incongruent in approach, Jay.
Want to know something hilarious about that? I tell people all the time. There's always been this thing, white people say, I'm so scared to go to that neighborhood or go to the hood or do that. And I'm like, yo, do you not realize you're safer in that neighborhood than I am? Something happens to you, you bring the police.
Right.
You bring the police in force, in mass. You bring an investigation that fucks up a lot.
Yeah.
Something happens to another Black person. It's all right. What we got to do? Boom. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. There is a big difference. The Nextdoor app and the Nextdoor is what you're talking about. And one of those things.
The Nextdoor
is ridiculous.
Yeah. Some of the comments, Jay, it's mind blowing to see that in a community that you see these people just, hanging out and being smiley and whatever. I'm not saying it's happening in my community. I'm saying I've seen it from other people who own houses, and you see the conversations they're having on those next door apps, and you're just like mind blown how blatant the supposedly liberal
I saw a black man walking. Okay, yeah. And what's he doing here? He might own property. Also, there is no restriction from where he or she can walk.
Yeah,
you hear about that all the time. What is this black woman? There was a black woman on the corner. She was looking around. Was she casing houses? No, she was on the corner just looking.
Yeah. Exactly. It's crazy. Tushka says, to be fair, there are a lot of strange white men around my neighborhood. All right, fair, Tushka, who's of Native American descent. That's fair. That's fair. Let's get into a couple of Streamlabs, Jay, and we'll swing back to this conversation because I want to keep it going. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching or listening to us now, please send in your Streamlabs and SuperChats. Ask us any questions you want about the subjects we're getting into tonight and any of the conversations that we're touching on, or maybe if you've got a subject you want to ask us about, feel free. The address is there on the screen for the Streamlabs. It's also pinned in the chat if you need that Streamlabs address. So send in some support for what we're talking about here tonight. Tushka says, just wanted to get my schmo in. I didn't know game time was on this late. Just kidding. Sorry. I have missed you guys in other Outlaw Nation shows the last couple of weeks. Much love to you both and your continued conversation about racism. Well, thank you, Tushka. Very kind of you. Wayne Edwards says, hello, brother Rocha and Jay Washington. This conversation is bringing up topics I didn't expect to think about tonight, which is appreciated. Have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah yet. I will watch soon. Have either of you seen City So Real? Have you seen that one, Jay? I don't know what City So Real is.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I can't say that I have, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think both of us say no. So I'll look that up and see what that's all about. As I ask Jay this next question here, as we move on, Jay, you tweeted about this in response to my comment to your tweet about Judas and the Black Messiah. You said you'd heard stories growing up in Chicago. Talk to me about that. What was it like to grow up as a black man in Chicago? Did you hear a lot of these Black Panther stories? What are some of the stories that you can relate or that you're comfortable relating?
I mean, you would hear about. I mean, you would hear about how they were. You look at your neighborhood. You would hear about, man, the Black Panthers are trying to make sure that this neighborhood was being built up, because the police kept stopping it and things like that. They were trying to, stop the level of gangs that were growing. They weren't as big. Gangs were actually community protectors at first.
Yeah.
Gangs weren't always what everybody sees gangs as now. Gangs were like smaller little sects that were, we're about neighborhoods and our turf, but it's about building up and keeping our neighborhood and community safe. And the Black Panthers were part of that. We're bringing some of them together. Again, the Black Panthers brought the gangs together, which, again, the officials and the law enforcement people were like, this isn't good. But what you hear how these different clinics and everything was going to be built up, how the neighborhoods weren't going to have these abandoned lots and everything, just burnt down buildings, just sitting there, nothing done with them. They were going to make sure it didn't look like a war zone. Okay. Bobby Rush, who is prominently featured in the film, see, he's a congressman, and we've always watched Bobby Rush speak on TV, and everybody always brings up Rush is one of the Black Panthers. He's an original Black Panther, and he talks about what they were doing for the community and how they were trying to consistently build up the community and whatnot, and even fighting through, again, the corruption in the mayor's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, real quick, Wayne Edwards says, who asked us about City So Real. This is a documentary that came out last year. Academy Award nominated filmmaker Steve James' fascinating and complex portrait of contemporary Chicago delivers a deep, multifaceted look into the soul of a quintessentially American city set against the backdrop of its history-making 2019 mayoral election and the tumultuous 2020 summer of COVID-19 and social upheaval following the death of George Floyd. Yeah, I'm absolutely going to watch this film. This sounds very interesting.
Do you know why the mayoral election was historical?
Yeah, break it down, Jay, please.
It was 2 Black women and 2 lesbian women. No matter what, Chicago was not only going to have their first Black lesbian mayor, which for Chicago, again, the most segregated city in the country.
Yeah. Again,
all these places that people will say, oh, well, they're blue, so they're liberal, all this and that. And it's like, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Again, there's a Bridgeport, Chicago. It's one of the most prominently racist neighborhoods. It's changing now. Mm-hmm. But years ago, you can actually Google this. The fire department caught hell because they were on the speakers off the fire trucks calling people niggers and everything.
Whoa.
The members of the Chicago Fire Department.
Yeah. Wow.
So you know, those things like that. So yeah.
And you see it in the movie in Judas and the Black Messiah, when they're having what the things that these cops are saying on their microphones for everybody to hear, on their their communication devices for everybody to hear, this antagonistic approach. And then you see them bringing in the gas can and doing what they did there in that situation, and then what happens to the people that bring out of there, such anger, but on both sides, certainly people getting shot and killed on both sides. It felt like, Jay, like a mini war. Was this something that your parents talked to you about, or your people who you grew up with talked to you about, your aunts and uncles or whatever, about the division that was going on?
It was always because
you're only probably a few years away from when you were born.
I'm a generation removed.
Yeah,
I'm a generation. I'm like less than a generation removed from it. Yeah. So to hear about, again, the police are supposed to protect you, supposed to protect and serve, supposed to be members of the community, but the police are actually trying to destroy your community. Yeah. Look at what they were doing with the Black Panthers. Oh, you don't believe it? Here, watch this little video real quick. Listen to this real quick. Read these articles. Things you were given that were like, oh, this is real. Right. Then you're hearing firsthand accounts of people who it sounded like a war zone, but it was literally the police shooting at the Black Panthers, even after they surrender, still shooting up, doing what they could to frame them, pulling Fred Hampton over any chance they get, pulling Bobby Rush over, pulling all them people over, just pulling them over just to see if they can, again, like Hoover said, find anything you can.
Yeah.
Just making shit.
These are essentially government condoned assassinations, Jay. What they show in the movie is essentially a government condoned murder. And I think Fred Hampton says, well, when someone's trying to explain to him what he heard them say or what the news was, he's like, no, that's the stuff they're feeding you. You don't know what the actual truth is between what the police are saying is the official statement and what the Black Panthers are saying is the official statement. And this is where it becomes an issue, right? Because if Black people band together and get weapons and protect their community and what have you, it's all of a sudden scare everybody on Fox News time. But
hey, bro, why do you think Ronald Reagan made the gun laws?
Right.
The Black Panthers were the reason the gun laws changed because of Ronald Reagan. There were no gun until until Black people mobilized together for unity and took their own Second Amendment rights, as everybody goes off of, and Ronald Reagan changed the rules within the game.
Yep.
That's why when Killer Mike even said it during the election, every Black person should go and own a firearm, not a gun, because here's the difference. Firearm is the legal term. If you own a firearm, it's like, oh shit, you know your rights. When you say I own a gun, they know they can get you on different things. Right. But when Killer Mike said that, everybody was like, wait, what? Yeah, exercise your Second Amendment right. If everyone else can, then why not? Again, but then you show how the game is played. Go back to Philando Castile in Minnesota. He was a registered gun owner when he was shot and killed. The NRA.
Yeah. Didn't say a word. It's fascinating. That's what I see. And I get your thoughts on this too, Jay. And we'll go to Sean here so you can start letting people know how they can come in and ask us questions live here on the show. For some of my Outlaw Nation patrons who are $10 and above, you get to come in first. Hopefully Sean has put that link in the Discord, and then we'll put the link out there for other people to come in live after that as well. But this is so fascinating to me when you look at they constantly try to go back to the Black Panthers all the time. When you watch Fox News or some of these conservative outlets, they show two Black men with rifles outside of like you said, firearms outside of a polling place or whatever, trying to make sure their people get to vote. Their people are not harassed or hassled or whatever. And it's Black Panthers are coming back, and it's crazy. Meanwhile, you've got full-on militias, white supremacist militias, the Proud Boys, all these people with guns stacked to the ceiling, showing up and raiding the Capitol and antagonizing people, burning Black Lives Matters banners, and there seems to be no condemnation of that in any way, shape, or form. How is the white majority the victimized people in this country? How is that mindset even remotely possible?
Easy, because the people who are talking about it on the news, if they weren't reported, they've been there with them. They've been there with them. Okay. So again, we aren't supposed to. We are not supposed to be considered human. We are just savages. We are just property. But because we've excelled and exceeded far beyond any expectation, any white person who brought black slaves to America thought, that is an issue. Because now, again, there's the belief that if black people excel, if they go above and beyond, if they make something of themselves, if they amass a fortune, a wealth, if they amass power, they will do to white people what white people did to them. That fear is the underlying fear of a lot of shit, that the tables will turn. But the thing is, if the tables were to turn like that, first of all, it would have to happen with a lot of black people being in the country, which again, 16%.
Yeah. Fair point. Absolutely, Jay. All right, let me bring in Sean Barreto, my producer here on the show. Sean, what's going on, dude? How are you?
I'm good. How you gentlemen doing tonight?
Good.
Interesting conversation you two are having. Very interesting.
Yep. Okay.
Well, let me do my spiel and then I'll kind of get into it. Outlaw Nation fans, welcome to the show. If you're having a good time, please hit that like button. We're just about to get to 100 likes. So let's get over that milestone so we can get over to the next one. If you're watching the show post, which we know a lot of you guys do, we appreciate it. Also hit the like button and also leave a comment. John does read the comments and he will comment back as long as they're respectful and thoughtful. Yes. If you guys are part of the Outlaw Nation Patreon, the link is already in the Discord. There's already people in here waiting to come on. So if you are not part of the Patreon, why? We have fun. We just had a hangout with John before the show. Yeah. Very heated discussion, which you already brought up one of the discussions we had earlier, John. Yeah. If you're not part of that, please, if you are, you could join. But I know I'm echoing, so I'm going to lower my headphone down. There you go. Yeah, sorry about that. So if you're not, please join. If you aren't, you can. I will put the link in the Discord in a little bit. In the chat a little bit, so you guys can ask Jay and John a question. So when you click on the link, it does bring you to StreamYards. It will ask you to verify your headphones and your microphone. Please try to at least have headphones, otherwise we can get an echo situation, and it's still distorting. It will bring you to backstage, and John will be able to see you. And once you're backstage, John can bring you in at any time. So please try to have at least one question ready so we can get through as many people as we possibly can.
Yep, there you go. Thanks. I appreciate it, Sean. Do you have a question or anything before we let you back down into the producer role?
Yeah, well, I had just a statement of kind of, so Jay, what John was talking about before about the Schmoedown's black movie slice, that I was one of the people who was like, I'm not comfortable having it, only because I understand what the sentiment is. But I think the Schmoedown is not going the right way to achieve that goal. Like my thought process is, if you want to be more inclusive, just be more inclusive. We don't need our own slice. Just talk about the movies.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, in that regard, but there's a certain way you can do black cinema where it's certain cinema that you just wouldn't talk about normally. I get what you're saying. There is the overall encompassing, move. Like, let's just be honest. Where else is a Tyler Perry category going?
Well, we just dropped the Tyler Perry category this past season. So, right, that's a fair point. That's been the attempts to try to do this. But
Tyler Perry movie in the Fall from Grace. In the Fall from Grace, how many bad wigs were there in the movie?
Oh God, don't bring up that movie. Don't bring up his movies. I mean, just for me, it's just a matter of I just want it to be just movies, for goddamn sake. Just talk about movies.
No, I get that, but also there is a thing. Well, because the problem becomes, let it be. I feel like this, and again, this is somebody speaking outside of the Schmoedown, right?
Yeah.
Let the slice exist for a moment, just for a moment to establish it, then phase the slice out. You get what I'm saying?
And make those movies more. How can I say this? Make those movies more prominent in other slices that they will be asked about.
And that's the biggest thing.
Slices, right?
Because again, like now, I know PJ is writing a lot of the questions.
Yes, yeah.
And PJ watches a lot more different movies, and he's willing to watch more. Because we have a lot of black movies that will never hit the Schmoedown. Like I said, a BAPS will never hit the Schmoedown. And I mean, people might joke, but that is considered black. That's a black classic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of black Booty Call is a black classic. Superfly, not the remake, the original Ron O'Neal Superfly.
Yeah. Harlem Nights.
Again, people shit on it because it's a bad movie as a whole, but I like it because it has all the legends in it.
Yeah.
But as a whole, people will not, you know what I'm saying, watch these films.
Yeah.
So force people to start watching them, then take the slice away. Now those films that you're starting to talk about, now they're integrated into everything of the category, right? Because the Spike Lee category is just a movie directed by Spike Lee, okay? But let's go deeper and tell Spike Lee characters that he's played in his films. Denzel movies, a lot of times it's like, well, because Denzel was in a movie, Will Smith, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But those are just prominent people. Now, because black cinema will allow you to say, okay, here's these other people you don't talk about, right? Like, for instance, if I ask, who played Buns in the movie Booty Call?
Is that a male or female?
It's a dude.
I would say Bernie.
Well, let me ask you a better question. Let me rephrase the question. I was just about to say, what Academy Award winner played Buns in the movie Booty Call? Again, because you say Academy Award winner, right? Now that's a different thing. Now, Booty Call can slide into a slice about Oscars.
Yeah.
Good.
I like that.
But you establish it first to let it go in and then dissolve the black cinema slice. Because then people will be like, okay, it's gone. Now what happened to it? Now all of a sudden you're hearing more and more questions like, wait a minute, did a question about Baby Boy just pop up? Did South Central just pop up?
Right.
Did Minister Society just pop up?
Yeah.
But for me, Jay, it's just a matter of what. So then the problem is going to lie in what is considered a black movie. Is it because it's someone who wrote the movie, produced the movie, directed the movie, starred in the movie?
Let's just keep it.
I know.
You know what a black. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm not writing the question.
Okay, now that's a different thing. But now you've addressed that as a fan, and it's open and it's in the ether, right? Yeah. So that goes to those who write the questions, who are responsible for the league, to understand. Yo, you need to know exactly what a black movie is,
right?
Because Miracle at St. Anna is not. It's just because it's directed by Spike Lee. It's not a black movie.
That's a fair.
You get what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no, I get it. But you have to let those. But those now, you and I understand. But now the people who are responsible for writing those questions have to understand it. You can't just say because Spike directed it, because Will Smith starred in it, because Denzel starred in it. It's a black movie. No. There are black movies. Like look, I hate that there's nigga movies. Okay, there are movies that only look. How many people? Okay, if I ask you the movie, name the 4 stars of the movie The Brothers.
Wait, 4 brothers? You mean
no.
Oh,
The Brothers. Okay. That's a black movie. The 4 stars of the movies The Brothers. D.L. Hughley, Bill Bellamy, Shamar Moore, Morris Chestnut.
Fair point. Okay.
That's a black movie,
right? Or the Wood? Is that one? That's a
the
black
Wood
movie.
is a black.
Black
the Wood
movie,
is a black movie.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Those things like that. Those hood classics. Those are certain movies that are. They're movies you just. Randy Const. Those are movies you know for a fact that are black movies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know for a fact this is a black movie you're talking about. Like there is no. I get where you're coming from, Sean. 150%. And I know as you not writing the questions is a different thing, but it also is that taking the fans to sit there and not being just why you don't get it to figure out the ones to talk to. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, if you try to talk to Christian, his head gonna explode because he got a million fucking things going on. You'll never get through to him. They'll never get through to him.
It's not PJ. When it comes to the black movies, I think he's consulting with people, obviously, who are black. I think maybe Dwayne Burke is one of them. I wonder if Janine is one of them as well. I don't know who the people, but I hope there's not just 2 people or one person deciding what is and isn't. But see,
you have somebody, and that's the thing too.
And that's the thing,
Sean. Too. If you got people like that, you got a Dwayne, a Janine, a Winston, hypothetically a me. You got people consulting on like these are black movies.
Yeah,
like these are actual black. That's when that's a different. Now that is a different slice in itself.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because the Book of Eli is not a black movie just because Denzel Washington starred in it.
Right,
absolutely.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? That's not a black movie just because Denzel starred in it. Concussion is not a black movie just because Will Smith starred in it.
Yeah. Well, here's a great question from Haskell. He said, "Agreed, John. They should ask a lot more questions about black cinema and regular categories. So, would a slice on black exploitation movies of the '70s?
Nope. Put that in black cinema. Nope. Put that in black cinema.
All right.
Put that in black because that's black. Again, black exploitation is black. Those are black movies. Look.
Yes.
Yeah.
who out here watching P.D. Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law?
Yeah,
That's a black movie.
I don't know what you just
said.
Said.
Oh, you don't? That is the sequel to Dolomite, fam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was
Rudy Ray Moore.
All right.
But I mean, but Jay, that just goes back to my point. Like, there's no white cinema movies. Like, I just wanted to just be a movie slice.
You see how you want to know
just
what
like
you
there's
sound
no
like?
white entertainment
television.
Yeah,
but that's because everything in itself has been.
Right.
I know.
Everything in itself as a whole.
Go, sorry. No,
it inherently is white cinema.
Right. And the inherent point of the black cinema movie slice is to elevate these movies, to be asked about, to give black competitors a chance to choose that slice as an advantage for them in competition. Because to be fair, a lot of people there are black people who watch these movies who think it's disrespectful that they're not being asked about in the general overall categories. So I get the intention, and I agree with you, Jay. That's actually, I didn't even think about it until you said it. Let it play out for a year, then migrate those movies into all these other general categories and make sure those movies are in the mix to be asked about in multiple matches, so it doesn't look like there's
damn it, Blackula needs to be
Blackula, absolutely.
Let Blackula go into horror. Like Blackula, again, when you start talking about it, because it's blaxploitation, but after we do this, it's black cinema. Because again, like if you start asking blaxploitation and black movies, then you going real far. Because then you run around the risk of what's black comedies now. You know what I'm saying? What's black rom-coms? What's black drama? Black action movies, et cetera, et cetera.
You got Coffee in there. You got Cooley High. You've got these other films.
Let's see how many more you're gonna name off the top of the dome.
Hold on. Let me, because I remember growing up in the '70s and watching these. Right, Coffee, Superfly, Cooley High, Sweet Waters, Badass Black Song. That's the one from Mario Van Peebles' dad, Melvin.
Let me ask you this question then.
Yeah, and Bingo Long and the Traveling All Stars. I think that's a black movie too.
Is the Warriors a black movie?
I don't think so, because there's white people in it as main categories, main characters. You would say it's a black movie?
No, I would say it's not. That's why I said it's not.
Ooh.
The Warriors is not.
No, does Hoodlum count? Does Hoodlum count?
I've never seen that, so I don't know.
It's a Spike Lee movie. Hoodlum is one of those But again,
Shaft. That's another one. Yeah.
But absolutely. That's the thing. There are certain Spike Lee films that are black films. Yeah. There are certain Spike Lee movies
like Crooklyn.
Crooklyn is a black movie.
Crooklyn is a black movie. Yes.
Chirac is a black movie. No. I just had to throw that in there real quick. Just had to get that.
What about Leprechauns in the Hood? Is that a black
movie? Oh Lord!
Can y'all kick him out the chat for saying that shit? So this got to go. You can't.
I should put him on timeout. No, I'm just kidding.
I like this. Is Lean on Me a black movie?
Yes.
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 It is a black
There's no question. Lean 100%. On Me is about a predominantly black school in New Jersey where Morgan Freeman plays a principal that calls himself Batman, who takes a student on the roof and tells him to jump because he smokes crack. That's a black movie.
Yeah, that's a fair point. New Jack City is that?
I'm sorry. Hoodlum is a Bill
Yes,
film.
yes, it is.
Yeah,
New Jack City is yes.
Right, but connected to Spike Lee with Bill Duke.
Who would ask the question, is New Jack City a black movie? What the fuck would you call it?
Well, he's not from America, so
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry,
School Days?
Yes. That's a black movie. Because it's basically indicative. It's supposed to talk about Morehouse.
Yeah.
It's supposed to Spike's experience in Morehouse. But those things, I get what you're saying, Sean. I do. Believe me, 100-fold. I hear you. But it got to have somehow, it's got to start so people will know. Because look, I want to hear, let me just call it for what it is. I want to hear William Bibiani answer a question about the best man.
But then I agree with you. I want to hear that too. So then he should just be asked it. It shouldn't have to be, he shouldn't have to happen to have landed on a slice so he can be asked that question. It's a movie just like any other goddamn movie is. And if he doesn't know it, then that's on him. They didn't know it.
Well, see, again, but The Best Man probably wasn't the best example. But there are movies, like I said, there's certain movies that automatically don't fall in that realm. You know what I'm saying?
Do the Right Thing a black movie? Because I know She's Gotta Have It in School Days but is Do the Right Thing? Is it overall a black movie? Because you've got Danny Aiello, you've got,
the subject matter.
I would say, it is. Because of the subject matter.
I would say because of the subject matter, what it is. Because again, people will say, well, Danny Aiello is a star of it, but it's like, what's this movie about?
Right.
It's about Moggs in Brooklyn stepping on somebody's sneakers. You remember that's how it all starts. Again, start naming people. You want a black cinema question? Name a prominent actor who you see in a lot of Spike Lee movies. Like he has people he keep using. Just a random question. But anyway, let's keep this going, y'all.
His name is Jay Washington. That's who he is.
Oh,
shit!
Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hijack the show with bring that up. But
yes, questions. All right, thanks, Sean. I appreciate it, brother.
I'm good,
brother. Yeah, all right, cool. I said that right. I was messing with him with that shit. All right, let's bring on one of my patrons here, the director of numerous films that other directors don't want to put their names on, but he puts his name on it. Alan Smithy. What's up, Alan Smithy?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
How's it going?
Jay just looks shocked. He's like, who the fuck is this?
Hey, I'm just here, I'm just here around enjoying the moment.
Well, anyway, Jay, it's good to see you. I don't know anything about sports whatsoever, but I still watch Game Time all the time because you and Rocha and Winston are hilarious.
Thank you so
I've
much.
been watching Blurs too, but yeah, you guys get me slightly interested in sports. I still don't watch much, but you know.
Well, we appreciate that.
But
you have a question?
Well, I was just going off of what Sean was saying. Like, what about the categories that would feature black films so that we don't have to have that category, like biopics?
Oh,
okay.
So, I mean, again, I think at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to have, again, if these things are going to, if the films can automatically be infused with the other categories, then say, if you can do it off jump, let me make sure, because I should have said that with Sean. If they can infuse these films out the gate, then get rid of the slice.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, look at what they already have. You have decade slices. Yeah. That's every film in the 70s, every film in the 80s, right? So those categories could easily, oh God. They made a movie in 1898. It had the train arriving at the station.
Yeah,
so it was scary as hell.
So it counts if you just say 90s. I don't know if you mean 18 or 1990s. There we go.
But anyway. Hey, I also wanted to say, like, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah the other day, and I loved it. Yeah. And one of the things I like about it is it's really objective, and the filmmakers don't really do a lot of stuff to like force you to think a certain thing about what you're seeing. And I think they trust that by the end of the movie, you will understand what you're supposed to understand. But do we sympathize with this Bill O'Neill person at all?
I don't
at all look at him as a victim of the FBI. I mean, he could have just gone to jail, right?
I said this. I said the same thing to somebody else. I'm like, yo, he could have literally just did the 6 years. Now, granted, he might not have survived 6 years because of what he was doing.
Right.
But he could have just, I think in his mindset too, probably in hindsight, granted he's passed now, so we don't know what he's thinking to this day. Right. But he probably thought, if I'd have just went to jail, Fred Hampton might be still alive.
Yeah. And there's moments in the movie where you wonder, like, he looks like he's kind of happy about something, you know. There's that one scene where he's backing the car out after he walks out, and I don't want to give too many spoilers. Yeah. But he kind of smiles, and you're like, are you just relieved because you're in so deep? Yeah. And I'm supposed to but I think the movie is amazing because the tension is major. And I think the tension of his situation helped someone like me, who's just a white dude, understand how much racial tension there is or how it feels, or at least to start to understand.
And I think this is important. And this is what I'm trying to get to in my mind to this. I want these films to reach every white person, to give them a moment to think, to pause, to contemplate, to look at, to explore. That's what this is all about. You know, asking for equality is not taking something away from you. You already have the equality. I don't mean you, obviously, Smithy, personally, but like the white community, you already have
what it is.
The equality.
And that's the fear.
How it's presented, and that's what I think is insane. Right. And I think there is a system in place that needs to keep creating the boogeyman out of the black community, or the boogie woman as well, out of the black community and out of the people of color, communities of color, rather. They have to keep creating this in order to keep cycling in and doing the things that they're doing and funding themselves. And I think this the wheel has to break, right? As Daenerys once said, you got to break the wheel in order to put it back together again so it works for everybody. And that's what I think is so insane. There's no way 16% of the population asking for a certain level of equality somehow destroys the other 80-some% that this country is full with white people.
Let me ask both of you guys a question real quick.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. So we know the way Black communities are portrayed as a whole, right? They're portrayed as impoverished, uneducated, et cetera, right?
All the time, yes.
See the movies all the time. When was the last time we seen a movie about the communities in Kentucky?
Specifically,
because Kentucky is the 8th poorest state in the Union,
right?
The 8th poorest. Now, with that level of poverty, of being impoverished, and that level of poverty and lack of education and resources, the crime level is just as high.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what John just said. That boogeyman.
Right.
That boogeyman has to be created.
Right.
Because if you compare, they're the same things if you're gonna go that way, right?
Yeah.
The exact same thing. So why not show the boogeyman that looks like everybody else?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Well, I do think progress, the way sometimes it sadly works, is that all the old people that think in the old way have to get old and die and be replaced by a new generation that is fresh and new when this kind of stuff is being discussed. And they won't have to be changed. They won't have to be re-educated. Their essential education is already pointing them towards better directions.
I hope so, Smithy, but you look at that Capitol riot, there were a lot of young white men and women in that Capitol riot cruise. You look at the fact that 75 million people voted for Donald Trump and a lot of the racist stuff he has said in the past. And a lot of those, and some of those, or a good portion of those, were young people. So yes, the idea that the older ages died, it does help, but it doesn't exactly bring us back to center to try to move forward. And so you hope that's what these films need to keep coming out. These films about Black stories, these films about Black historical figures need to keep coming out so that you break through, the dam, like Jay said, the dam finally breaks and people look at all this stuff and reappraise it like we seem to be doing now a lot on the Me Too side of things. We need to be doing that on the Black side of things as well, and in the communities of color side of things as well. So, all right. Anything else, Smithy, man? It's always good to see you, brother.
Great to meet you, Jay. Thanks so much.
The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine.
All right. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot, Rocha.
And I'll follow you later. Thanks a lot, Smithy.
All right.
There it is. There it is. Much love to Smithy. Thank you, bud. All right, let's bring in someone from across the pond here. Chris over there in Scotland. What's up, Chris?
Not much, man. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here that I was making during this conversation.
No
because that was fucking fascinating. Jesus Christ, I'll go with the Black cinema. Do I go with Black?
Whatever you want.
This is a toughie. Do you know what, Jay? Let's go with this one. I don't like to assume anything because I don't want to assume what your music taste is. Take it you're into hip hop, rap.
I'm into everything.
Okay, good question. Then this is kind of a weird one. I was thinking about musicians like Eminem, R.A. the Rugged Man, Beastie Boys, Macklemore, white guys that adopt Black musical styles, like white rappers, essentially. And I was thinking, how do you feel about that? Like, do you think that's a cultural thing, or do you think it's feel more like that's something that's in the community? And I was also thinking, like, a lot of people like that are demonized. Like, even going back as far as like Elvis, Led Zeppelin, people who adopted Black musical styles are almost demonized for bringing that into the white community. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. So
you kind of see what I'm saying?
Let me go first. So when it comes to like an Eminem and the Beastie Boys, if it's what you grew up around, if that's what you were always into, and that's your culture, because Eminem grew up around in Detroit on 8 Mile with D12, all them. So hip hop is in his blood. That's him. The Beastie Boys the same way. Macklemore, it's a whole different thing. Elvis stole Black music. True. It is openly that Elvis stole rock and roll. Little Richard and all them were doing it. Because he was white, he was able to make it popular. And then people will say, well, you should thank him for it. Like, no, why couldn't we do it the same? Like, if you ever watched the movie The Five Heartbeats, there's a scene where they're trying to get their album put out and they were going to be on the cover. And the label was like, yeah, how about we don't put you guys on? We're going to use these 5 white guys, the Horsemen. But that was a true thing that was happening back in the day, because it was believed that black skin is so detrimental they can't sell. So it depends. The appropriation is an Iggy Azalea who didn't sound like that, who just wanted to have a persona like that. But when it's something that you grew up around, that's all you knew. When that was what's your culture and around you, then that's a different thing. That's a whole different ball game.
Right. The authenticity versus the put upon, essentially cosplaying, being a member of the black community, cosplaying, being a black rapper, that kind of stuff you see for sure. Yeah. Chris, what else you got, brother?
The second one was when you were mentioning when was the last time you saw about movies from white guys from Kentucky. I was thinking films like Train Spotting, which represents underrepresented, very poor communities. Film that don't know if you two have seen. I Am Daniel Blake.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay.
It's over here we have I don't know what you call it, like food stamps in the US or social security. Over here we have like the dole.
Yeah.
And it's a film about a disabled guy who has to fight because he's basically getting evicted.
Oh wow.
And as someone like me, it's like it's a white guy and he's like, this is fucking shit how much of these hoops I have to jump through to prove that I'm poor, that I deserve to live.
Yeah.
And I think that's a universal thing. Not just for blacks or Latinos or whites. It's like people who are poor, when we feel like that, you feel downtrodden.
Yeah.
That is a universal feeling that we can all
that's something we all can agree. Yeah, that's definitely a feeling when you feel like everything's against you. When you feel like no matter what when you literally have that feeling of no matter how hard I keep trying, someone keeps kicking me back down.
Yeah, and I think that's something like with black cinema that a lot of white people like me can relate to, even if we're not in the exact same situation.
Yeah.
It's a very universal, like, oh fuck, I'm not in that position because I've never been discriminated against because of my skin color, but you're discriminated against for other reasons. And I'm not saying one's worse than the other or one's
I know exactly.
less valid. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
You sense a kinship is what you're saying.
The sense of relationship, the sense of kinship. Yeah. In relations, and I think if you can normalize that in cinema or in music or whatever, it brings everyone closer together.
Yeah.
But that's like even Eminem actually acknowledged. Winston pulled it up. I think it was on the last Blurred or Game Time or something. He was pulled up Eminem's lyrics where he openly acknowledges that as a white guy by myself, you don't pay me no attention. You know what I'm saying? Black people ain't paying me no attention. But like because of Dre and everything I'm on and all this. And again, growing up impoverished, growing up in a trailer park. Some people have dilapidated homes that may not be a trailer park, but they're the same, going through the exact same thing. You know, some people like, oh, you don't know what my struggles were. Like, yeah, if you went through this, I went through that. We went through the same thing. Now, one has an easier track out of that impoverishedness, out of that down situation. One has an easier track. Now, you might think both of us have the same track, but there's one that has an advantage because of one thing that the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in Scotland, we're very lucky. We've got free education, universal education. It's paid for everyone.
Yeah. Man, you see how that sounds like a beautiful thing?
Yeah, you guys in the US, obviously, I feel sorry for you guys. You don't have that.
No. Shit, we barely got good education.
Yeah.
Fuck, sorry, I shouldn't have laughed at that. That was horrible, sorry.
No, it's fair. It's totally fair. But I, and I think that's what, and I know you're Scottish, but in that film, The Commitments, which is Irish, he's talking about like there is this sense of kinship and understanding amongst the poor people in certain sections of the UK, certain sections of the countries like Scotland, England, and Ireland, who feel a kinship with what the black community goes through because they're vilified, they're immediately judged, they're immediately seen as criminals right off the bat, or they're questioned or interrogated or pulled aside or set up, in these kinds of ways, and they struggle so hard just to be able to live, just to be able to get food, whatever. That's more than part. So I absolutely understand that, and that's a different conversation,
Yeah, you had that with all of the old. Sorry to go off on this again. The old ska, the old two-tone music bands like the Specials and stuff. Like Skinheads were a black community. They were white people mixing with black, like bringing in reggae music into punk.
Uh-huh.
And that was very much a impoverished thing. And then somehow fucking skinheads got adopted by Nazis.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't know how that happened.
People forget. People be like, the weirdest things, the weirdest trends that started were not meant to start out that way. Everybody that wasn't supposed to be the thing. Like, we were supposed to be able to just wear a bald head and go to punk rock concerts and kick it. Now they just think we hate everybody. Like, they fucked all this up.
Yeah, and that was because there was lots of black and white communities mixing in like low income areas of London. So a lot of like that Caribbean influence got brought into punk music. And it's fascinating how all of that evolved.
Yeah, fair points. All right,
anyway,
Chris.
I'll let you go, but that was good. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the most serious conversation I've had on here.
It's that kind of show tonight. Thanks, Chris. Great to see you. Please remember to hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen, as we go through people who are asking us questions live. And don't forget to send in your Streamlabs and Super Chat. Still picking those up here as we go along. We got a couple we're waiting on, and then I'm bringing some people in live, and we'll answer those in just a second. So send them in now, your Streamlabs and Super Chats, so we can get into it. Super Chats, or Streamlabs rather, right above my head, right up there, and then also in the description, and I pinned it to the chat. Brennan, what's up, Brennan? You were up next.
Hey, Jay. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Brendan. How's it going?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm good.
So, do you think that Chadwick Boseman stands a good chance of winning the Academy Award for Best Actor this year for
Ma Rainey? After seeing Judas and the Black Messiah, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking of that because I believe, judging by the Screen Actors Guild Awards, that Chadwick will be nominated for the lead actor for Ma Rainey, and Daniel Kaluuya, Leslie Odom, and Chadwick possibly again for the Five Bloods.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Nominated in the supporting categories. So, I think, just personally, that the Best Actor category, if they put Chadwick in the right category, which is always a concern at the Oscars.
Oh, that is.
I think it's going to come down to either him or Gary Oldman.
Wait, what's opening this year?
Mank.
Yeah, Mank.
Oh, I don't think. You know what? I don't think Oldman will get it. I really believe. Okay, so I believe Daniel Kaluuya could finally get it because remember the year he got nominated for Get Out, I feel like that was just let's put Daniel Kaluuya at all these award shows, right? Yeah. It was just have him sit here. I think Chadwick is going to get it because of who he is and who he was. And it's one of those because I don't think you want to give Chadwick it for supporting. I don't think you give it to him for the five. No. You give it to him. You're going to give not just because it's him passing, but that performance is Levy in Ma Rainey was phenomenal. Great. And again, there's a power in Levy and there's a power as Chairman Fred Hampton. There's a power in both, but I hate to say it this way, and I feel like the Academy may look at it with Daniel like they did with Leo. He can get it eventually. You get what I'm saying? He'll get it. It was one of those. He'll get it. He'll get it because if you look at Daniel Kaluuya's track record, there's no way you can't say he will not be an Academy Award winner. There's no way. But you look at like Chadwick, you're like, God damn it, because you're gonna miss the window if you don't honor him.
But I think one of the good things is that maybe Daniel Kaluuya, and whether this is fair or not, will get nominated as a supporting actor, and he could win.
Because it's more Lakeith's story than it is.
Fred's story. Yeah, that is true. You can argue. It depends on how they mark. That depends on how they campaign. Yeah. Now, if they campaign now, if you see, because it's Warner. If Warner campaigns it as Lakeith for Best Actor and Daniel as supporting, then Daniel might get it for that.
Yeah.
Because then it'll go Chadwick, Daniel.
Yeah, and that could work because I mean, Oldman's already won his. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
that was my
Churchill.
thought. Is he
Yeah,
already won.
and that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, I mean, yeah, he may be having a great performance in Mank, but again, he just got it. He
He's
just got
already
it.
gotten it. Yeah.
He got it for Darkest Hour. And again, it's not saying that people won't get multiple Academy Awards because shit, every time we look up Jennifer Lawrence, excuse me, was winning one, and you were like, yo, Silver Linings Playbook wasn't that goddamn good. Like, you know, but you're seeing people consistently win them. You see people like Mahershala. Never people forget Mahershala Ali won his first Oscar for one act in a movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
People forget. People think it's like, oh, was he in all of Moonlight? Mahershala Ali is in the first act of the movie, and that is it.
As soon as it goes to a black friend, he's gone. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Brandon. Anything else? You got one more?
Yeah. Just what do you think about Sidney Poitier? Where he
legend.
Okay.
Legend. There's no. I don't think there's no other word you can use to describe him but legend.
Yeah. I would agree 1,000%.
All right. I would agree. Okay.
You watch In the Heat of the Night and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner back to back. That'll tell you the black struggle honestly portrayed at that time through what he's saying in both of those movies.
Him slapping the guy in the Heat of the Night.
Yes.
Yeah, when he slapped the
stand up and cheer kind of moment.
Yeah, it is. It is. But then later when he is calling out his father, when he's saying, I didn't ask to be born. I don't owe you anything.
You know?
So it's like, it's such a great, a different approach to that situation that I thought made the film multi-layered. So, all right. Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan.
So much, Jay.
Always. Thank you.
All right, let's get to a couple of these. Let's get a quick Streamlabs and Super Chat here. RJC Lifestyle says 2 things y'all should check out, both on Netflix. 2 Killings of Sam Cooke. I saw that. It is fucking excellent. There's no one I love more than Sam Cooke. I literally have the book right here. It is. If you haven't read this, you gotta fucking read this. Dream Boogie is a fantastic book on Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke makes me so. In my review of that I did of Judas and the Black Messiah, a small little story about me. My mom, who passed in 2007, my mother's favorite song was "A Change Is Gonna Come."
Oh man, that song!
I can to this day, I can never hear that song without starting to cry slowly. People be like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, also, if you listen to the lyrics of "A Change Is Gonna Come" first and foremost, but then my mom, it's like, man.
When that line, when he says, when I go downtown, my brother always keeps telling me, don't hang around. Oh, it's just powerful. And when Spike put it into Malcolm X, oh, fuck, man.
When you knew it was, when it was about to go. I don't like we're watching bullets being loaded. We're watching Malcolm make his last speech. We're watching the chairs be set up, and we're all of this emotion is happening at one time. Again, how Spike didn't get that Oscar, we'll never know.
Yep. Or Malcolm for that. I would take that over Training Day in a heartbeat.
I would have. Man, listen. The fact that they had to give Denzel the crooked cop one.
Yeah, true. Good point. Great point, man. Second, he said, RGC Lifestyle says, crack cocaine, corruption, and conspiracy. Ronald Reagan is responsible for planting crack in the black community.
Yeah, we all know that for sure. That's why when everybody was trying to be like, happy birthday, Ronald Reagan, I hope you're burning in hell too.
Wow. Okay. There you go.
It's the truth. Ronald Reagan was supposed to be this glorious savior. Again, it's even depicted in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
How he ran on his campaign. He was so subvertly racist in everything he was saying, and people never caught on until, again, when the crack epidemic happened, and he was like, I'm going to help my wife start the DARE program. No, we know what you're doing.
Yeah. And if you look at Bush right after him using that Willie Horton stuff, pretty corrupt thing to do at the time. Stupid Stars Music, or for any time really. Stupid Stars Music says, Jay, you got to watch Prim's Hood Cinema. LOL, greatness. I don't know.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay. And F James 72 says, hey Jay, I listened to you on stereo, and I think you might have discovered a way to monetize to use Streamlabs during the stereo sessions.
So me and Winston will do. So Winston and I, we since everybody's got no stereo, we now do sporadic Blurs episodes on stereo.
Oh, smart.
And so, but the thing is, you know how people can leave messages and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I want to be more. Because of course there's a bunch of kids and people want to play around, and I want to keep it where it's like, yo, if you really want to ask a question, ask a question.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know, send it to the Streamlabs. Like, we'll play some, but it's like some people, and then also we had to tell people, like, yo, we get y'all want to ask us questions, say something. Can y'all keep it condensed, please? Calvin came on there high as shit, was like, hey man, what y'all talk about on the show today? So Calvin. Yeah, I was thinking, but Calvin's a great dude. So yeah.
He's waiting to come in live, so we ain't done with Calvin yet. So,
of course he is.
Alan Smithy said, "Thanks again, Jay and Rocha." You're welcome, Smithy. Thank you, brother. And Fillmore Pockets just sent in something, so thank you, Fillmore. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Speaking of Winston A. Marshall, I hate him so much. He just sent me a tweet. I hate him so much.
Does he come after you? Did he come after you?
No, he just sent me something off Twitter. Oh. I don't know if you've seen the Yo Mama So MAGA.
Yes, I was watching those for half an hour today. They were hilarious.
He just sent me one. Here's a picture of a fat dude like Trump on the cross with a MAGA hat.
Yeah. Your Mama So MAGA. She's got one of these hanging in her living room.
Yes, she's got these on Etsy.
Hilarious, man. Yeah, thank you, Fillmore Pockets. Keep sending in, ladies and gentlemen. We got about maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes left in the show. We got to let Jay go, and I got to go to bed, for God's sake. So please send them in as we're going along here and closing out the last live. People waiting to come in. What's up? What's up?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How you doing?
What's happening?
What's up, Jay? How you doing, man?
How you doing, man?
So you don't like Leprechauns in the Hood? Like
I like the movie, but you will never categorize that shit as black simp. Leopard in the Hood, up to no good.
Oh my God, that was like the worst song. Yeah.
I was like, Warwick Davis needed a paycheck badly to do Leopard in the
I was just jealous because we didn't have Leprechauns on the res. That's what I was hoping.
God.
Nice.
I was hoping for at least a little bit of representation, but we can't get that either. But yeah, man. Hey, thank you guys, man. I've been catching in the last half of it. You guys are awesome. I appreciate y'all your viewpoints and your open honesty and man, just talking a lot of truth, really. So
thank you, brother. Always.
I mentioned it in the chat, but like whenever we're kind of talking about movies, I noticed because I spent some time over at I call her an auntie. Basically, she's just my friend's mom, but she had OWN on the whole time during Christmas.
Okay.
And so I talked with other people, and like a lot of natives.
Oprah Winfrey Network, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey Network. Yeah, sorry. But a lot of natives gravitate towards black cinema versus Lifetime or Hallmark, or kind of white cinema. As in that nature, but so I mean, there's a lot of commonalities as far as movie taste and kind of like with native culture, kind of what we watch as far as with the black culture too. So I think I could hold my own in movie trivia schmodan, one of the slices, or if they added some. But,
for one of the slices, sure. For one,
that's about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, a question for you. So you guys are you still in Chicago right now?
I'm here. I'm home. I'm in.
You made it home, man.
I'm
flew in tonight.
There's what's called heat outside. There's no snow.
How is it? Can you send something? Can you mail it?
What, the snow or the heat?
Or the heat.
Oh no, y'all good. Y'all keep all that. Look, like I said, I was telling Rocha at the beginning. I'm like, I'm used to it. I'm born and raised in Chicago. Yeah. I've been through Siberia. I've been through snow. I've been through the snowpocalypse. All that. Like I've been through it. Yeah. So like. But when you see it again, you're like, oh man, I forget that when it gets 20 something inches, you literally need to make sure you have no plans to do. You got to be comfortable with being like, this whole panorama situation. Everybody's supposedly been in the house for the majority of things, because most places haven't been open. But when you got 20 something inches of snow, you got to be comfortable with just being in the crib. Like, that's it, because you ain't going to, because especially if you ain't trying to shovel or deal with shit, you're just like, I'm here. This is what it is.
Yeah. You're not going to Taco Bell. It'll kill you. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You're not able to get out. Yeah, that's what we got right now. We got about, I think, 6 inches, maybe 7, depending on the drift and everything. It's not. Hey, here's the thing. I'm in Southeast Oklahoma. All right.
No, I get it. No, but that was the one thing we were talking about on Blurs. We were talking about on Blurs how places that weren't getting like normal amounts of snow been getting hit. Like they said, Arkansas been like, I don't know what to do, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have shovels. We don't have road salt. I mean, like,
because you never expect. But hey, like we said, like we called on the show, climate change ain't real. Say what now?
Yeah.
Say what now?
Look at it. Yep. Exactly.
People who always say climate change ain't real. It's like that is proof in itself.
Yep. Just a quick update. Naomi Osaka officially beat Serena Williams tonight for the French Open title. So incredible. The Australia. She advances to the Australian final. Sorry, that's happening on Sunday, Australian Open. So shout out to her. Not easy to defeat Serena for sure. All right, thanks, Tushka.
I think Naomi has Serena's number now. I think it is. All right, brother. Take care.
Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Let's bring in Wayne Edwards. What's up, Wayne? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Oh, hey, how you doing? Let me get focused on you guys here.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to do some schoolwork while I'm listening to your show.
Can't
Get educated, man. Yeah.
Hey, Rocha, you've inspired me to, at 50 years old, to get back into school,
I'm
change
only
my
35,
life.
so I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Excuse me?
I'm only 35.
Okay.
Don't put my business in the street.
Okay. I'm not going to assume. I'm okay. I thought you were close to my age. I'm 50 years old. Maybe you're 35. That's fine, because I've been following you for a long time. But anyway, I want to come in on the show. And Jay, you're a cool dude. I like you. I don't agree with everything you say. Same with Rocha. We don't agree a lot. Well, we agree 90% of the time. 90%.
Yeah.
But there were two topics I was trying to think of, like, what about I talk about? I think there were two things I was curious about. Was you said all Black movies aren't Black? Like you mentioned The Miracle of Saint Anna. That's not a Black movie. But it's like, well, it's about a Black incident that happened in real life. Directed by
it is. You know, I'm thinking of something else. So that's probably what my brain was. So again, I've been flying all day. So y'all,
it's okay.
But you kind of get where I'm going, though. I like certain movies, if the directors, because A Wrinkle in Time is not a Black movie.
It's not. That's true. It's not.
Right.
And I totally agree with that. I love all movies. I love all music. I'm one of those weird Black people that love everything. And I grew up like in the early 70s in a multiracial neighborhood, and I listened to all kinds of music, I watched all kinds of movies. I was surrounded by different people, and I realized that was an aberration. It wasn't normal.
Right.
So now at 50 years old, I see what's going on, and I'm like, I'm into everything. I'm into Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, whatever, blah, blah, blah. One of my favorite movies is Shaft by Gordon Parks. I love that film.
I love Broken Arrow with Christian Slater and John Travolta. Don't you fucking shove me. Don't y'all judge me. How long it is one and only movie.
Are you crazy?
I dragged my ex-wife to the movie to see that. She's like, what the hell did we just see? But I loved it, but she hated it. Anyway, but yeah, it's just the concept of like, what's a Black movie? And I really love Moonlight. Moonlight was a great film. It's my top 10 ever.
Yeah.
But people put that in a box. Wow, it's just a Black movie. No, it's not. It's just a great movie, period. Right. And that bugs me. So
see, there's a difference though. Like you said, there are movies that have that difference. There are, again, Moonlight encapsulates more than just the Black story. It's a Black LGBT story. Exactly. LGBTQ story when you sit there and really think about it. But again, I'm gonna keep bringing up a BAPS, How to Be a Player. You know what I'm saying? Sure, but those are movies that those are movies when you like Black movies, Black movie.
Right. I got you. Yeah, I'm in the BAPS. What was that one, Soul Plane? you ever see Soul Plane?
Which, again, I'm telling you, everybody who's seen Soul Plane, you ain't seen Soul Plane unless you saw the original bootleg version.
That's what I saw.
Wow.
You gotta see the original bootleg version.
All right. I gotta find that.
Because they changed the ending. Because it got bootlegged so much, the ending you see now is not the original ending.
Yes. I agree. I saw that. I was at a friend's house and we just were dying. How funny the movie was. It was like, but that's the thing. Like, I hate that Black movies can be put into a box. Yeah. No, they're just cinema, like everything else.
Well, but you got to remember, though, at the same time, see, I think the thing is this, and that was something I should have said earlier. You have some directors and creators who are making Black movies just to be that, though. Like, yes, there are movies that are movies for everybody, but there are movies that are for the culture, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. There are. So that's when you say a Black movie, when you got a movie where you're like, this was made for Black people specifically. Right, that's a Black movie. Right. And it's, you know what I'm saying? That's a Black movie. When you have a movie you look at and you're like, well, this is pretty much for any and everybody who's going to watch it and enjoy it because everybody will relate to it and have fun. But you look at a movie like, again, The Brothers. That's some only black people going to really sit down and watch.
Right. Yeah, right. Actually, you know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying maybe 9,000 other women because of all the dudes, because of Shamar Moore and Morris Chestnut.
I mean,
but in general, it's a black people are gonna watch that movie, are gonna gravitate to that movie. That's what I mean. Movies that when you sit there and think about it, you're like, this was made for black people.
Right.
Well, you mentioned The Brothers earlier. I'm like, The Brothers. Well, I saw that years ago.
Yep.
And I refreshed my memory. I looked on IMDb, like, oh yeah, I saw that.
But you see what I'm talking about? Movies like that?
Exactly.
That's what I'm talking about. Movies like that, where it's like when you sit there and you're like, oh, they made this for black people. Yeah. Like again, people can say, well, what about Trading Places? That was made for everybody. Yeah. Harlem Nights was technically made for everybody. Well, it was just Eddie Murphy trying. Boomerang is a black movie.
That's a black movie.
Yes, it is. Yes. Well, yeah, I'll say that. What about Deep Cover?
Deep Cover's for everybody.
Oh, that's a good question.
Because you know why? Here's
God.
Why. Because of the way the character. Because this is the transition from Larry to Lawrence.
Yes, it was. That movie is amazing.
Yeah,
that movie
I like it. Is. It's phenomenal, but it was more of a widespread movie because it's about an undercover. You know, so we talking about cracking the hood, but it was that it's gonna appeal to everybody. Yep. Now, granted, the soundtrack was just for black folks because you wasn't finna have no white kids in the
well,
187 on Undercover Cop. That's off that soundtrack, I think. The Snoop Dogg Dre thing. That was a fucking great track.
I don't know why I thought you just said Undercover Brother. Now that is
a movie. Is that a black movie? Is Undercover Brother?
That is
a qualifies.
Well, okay. Well,
shit. I mean,
I think Deep Cover had a mass appeal to multiple people.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Deep Cover isn't a black movie because Deep Cover appealed to a broad spectrum.
And doesn't he hook up with Ellen Barkin throughout the movie? So he's got a white woman as his girlfriend in the movie, right?
Well, not Deep Cover.
Oh, is that Deep
Cover? No, it's not another movie. You're talking about the other movie with a really bad sex scene. There's a sex scene between him and Ellen Barkin in some other movie. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Okay.
The last 2 minutes is terrible. But anyway, I could go on and on. But great topic, great stuff. Rocha, you and I still have to talk about why you hate La La Land, and I love it. Oof. And then interracial dating. I sent you
you want to see me make Dan Murrow mad?
Right.
So the year La La Land won, I'll never forget because I was doing one because I was like, it's Hollywood jacking itself off.
Okay, Jay. So now I'm gonna give you a 30-second reason why I love La La Land.
Okay.
And I'll be done.
Tell me why it's tough for pretty skinny white people in LA.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, Rocha. So look, when I saw La La Land, I love the director, Damien Chazelle. I love him.
Yes, great director. Yes,
I loved it. So when I saw La La Land, and before I saw La La Land, I hated musicals. Like musicals are stupid. They make no sense. But La La Land was my entry point into musicals. And in subject matter of jazz, it made sense because you could say, well, there's a white person trying to save jazz. But look, I'm like 50 years old. I've lived in Inglewood in the past. I went to many jazz clubs that came and went and disappeared. You know why? Because nobody who was black came to see those artists play. So I'm not saying black people don't care about jazz. They do. A segment of jazz. A segment of black people love jazz. You know who's keeping jazz alive right now in Europe? White kids, Asian kids, they're keeping jazz alive.
White kids with record players.
Exactly. Well, there's some great artists right now who are white and young in Europe who are like taking jazz to the next level, and some black kids now in this country. I shouldn't say kids, but men and women who are like taking jazz to the next level, but they're not being exposed enough. So jazz still exists. It's still
absolutely.
But I really resonate with the point of jazz is dying. Yeah, traditional jazz is dying because most, black people, we should love it. A lot of us don't. A lot of us don't care about jazz, but I do. But there's a generation below us who are like, we love jazz, and they're going to keep that going.
I got you.
I'll get on your Patreon and we'll talk about it later.
I like it, Wayne. And I'm a fan of jazz, Wayne. I have stacks of jazz records here. I love it.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Cool. Love jazz. So I hear you. I understand. And the film was Bad Company. That's the film I was getting confused.
That was the Ellen Burke.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah,
I hated that movie.
Sex scene. Yes, very
I
much.
think everybody hated that movie.
Great show, guys. I'll hit you later. Thanks, Jay. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Much love, Wade. Peace, man. All right, let's bring in Calvin. Try to see if he doesn't derail the show. Calvin, what's going on, bro?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, Jay? It's Calvin, otherwise known
as.
Anyway, yeah, otherwise known as Kingsport Calvin. You might have seen me in your blurs.
I put two and two together, Calvin.
Okay. Well, anyway, I got to mess with Jay there for. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I got to mess with Rocha there. Is that a fucking flak jacket you got on? What is that?
No, dude, it's cold here, man. It's cold in San Diego.
Yeah, I know.
Contrary to popular opinion, it does get cold in California, man. It is fucking cold down here, and I'm not turning on.
You've been here too long to where that little shit makes you cold.
I'm telling you.
He's keeping his inner core, Coach.
That's right.
He's keeping his inner core.
I like wearing vests.
Warm.
I know people give me shit. I like wearing vests. I'm comfortable wearing vests. I wore them in the military. I just feel comfortable wearing vests. Go ahead.
Wear what you want to wear.
Right, Calvin out of Poughkeepsie. Hello, Calvin. What's your question?
Anyway, I got a few things. I'm sorry again. I know I'm going to make it short.
All right.
I'm looking at the clock right now. I want to say a change. My mama did love God rest her soul. My mama did love Change Gonna Come. And I wasn't high. I don't get high. I wasn't high whenever I said what I said to you, Jay. I was not high.
Nigga, that was the words out of your own mouth.
You can't believe everything that you read. Anyway, what else I will say? Oh yeah, Regal and Tom. Okay, we ain't got to get on that. But we can talk about that later. Regal and Time is that is not a black movie. I don't believe that. The Five Bloods was one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah,
when the year it came out, and I actually met Spike Lee once. He did a talk in at ETSU in Johnson City, Tennessee. It's a college. He did a talk, and I sat in the middle so I could be his focal point. And then afterwards, he had a meet and greet, and I went and shook his hand, talked to him for a second, and told him I liked his movies and stuff. It was great. It was phenomenal. It was awesome. Okay. And then somebody mentioned Prim's Hood Cinema. Now, Prim's Hood Cinema is a fucking YouTube channel. You should check it out. It's very great. Now on to the question I want to ask. Now, I want to ask this question. I am Cherokee Indian and black. Let's see. My grandmother was 100%. She was full-blood Cherokee. Now, my mother is 50% Cherokee. So then she had me. But they all married black men. All these people married black men. And then they had me. So, am I black? Does that make me black? Am I still black?
Okay.
That's my question for you.
No, I'm asking a question just like this. Nigga, yes.
I know. Now, I'll tell you why I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why I know that, Jay, because everywhere I go, and even with my daughter, who's 16 years old, everywhere she goes, everywhere we go, we're black. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to ask you. What is? I know mine, but I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite hood film? I know it's hard to do it on the spot, but what is it? What would you think would be your favorite hood movie?
Boys in the Hood.
Whole range of it.
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. Okay, I'll give you mine is Menace to Society. That's my favorite.
That's a good one.
I
Mine
think
is Malibu's Most Wanted. That's my
okay. It's time for me to get off my
God. Just joking.
All right, B-Rad. Anyway,
What else, Kevin? What else you got?
I think because I write my shit down.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I want to get my thoughts together. I did want to give a shout out to Jay's daughter. I just want to give a shout out to her.
Okay.
Okay. No, I don't know her, but
okay.
I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend like I know her, but I know he's got a daughter. I just want to give a shout out to his daughter.
Respect.
But I also want to. I did write down that one dude was talking about jazz, and
Wayne. Mm-hmm.
And I played in a jazz band for 5 years in high school. I was in a marching band, concert band, and jazz band.
Okay.
And I played trombone, and I played trombone in all three. Now in jazz band, I played the trigger slide trombone, which means all you had to do is hit this button, and it triggered the slide, and you just slide with it. Anyway, but I enjoyed my time in a jazz band, and so I wanted to say that. Okay. But I did want to if I have a little bit more time, I did want to get a little bit. I mean, I know that I'm Indian and black, but I get a lot of flack. Well, I don't get a lot of flack because a lot of people don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Just like you're talking about, Jay, like you said, yeah, nigga, you black. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But, a lot of people don't know that. And, and I think it's very interesting because, our culture, like I said, you look at the skin tone and you all automatically you're black. So, I just wanted to let people know that. Because I think it's a big deal with things. Now, like my mother, I'm sorry, Rocha, I'm not trying to get all crazy with this, but my mother embraced the Indian side of things more so than I did, and shit, the cigarette went out. Anyway, but she embraced that shit more so than I did, and what I do now, but I'm still in touch with my roots, and I've got, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to make awareness that there's a lot of people that are multicultural out there. Yeah. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be just black or just, and that's the way things are going. Like you got to think, my daughter is Indian, black, you know what I'm saying? And she's Indian black. And I think there might be in my heritage. I'm not exactly sure. I remember my mother talking about it before she passed away. I think there's some kind of white in the background there.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm not sure. So you know what I mean? And, and I also think that that's what everybody's afraid of. They don't want all this mixture of shit going on. You know what I'm saying? I think people are afraid of that, and they want that's the whole keep it pure bullshit, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I had to say. And I love you, Jay. I want to see you on stereo sometime again.
You will.
Talk to you.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to see you and Winston. Oh yeah, you tell Winston I said what's up, and Rocha, of course.
Yep.
Horseman,
always.
I'll see you later,
so
buddy.
Much. Appreciate it, Calvin. See you, man. All right, there you go. There was Calvin. Let me get to some of these Streamlabs SuperChat. I know we're running short on time for you, man. Justin Toner says, hi, John and Jay. Great show and discussion tonight. I'm going to check the movie out. Wanted to ask Jay about Keith Lee. I'm worried he's not going to get the push he deserves on Raw from the WWE. Do you think there is still time?
That man just got on the roster. He just got on the main roster in August.
Yeah, right.
People gotta chill.
Okay.
Like Keith wasn't brought in. Unfortunately, I know we want to see Keith be brought in, shot to the top, bam, but he was just put on the main roster in August.
Yeah. Let him have some time. I agree with you, man. Let's not rush it. Brandon Lewis says, do you think there is a difference between a black film and a black story? Like Miracle in St. Anna, I would say, is a black story over a black film.
Yes,
because there's still a lot of Caucasians in the film.
That is definitely there is definitely a black story, and definitely yes, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's actually a fair point for sure. Chris Taylor says, Jay, you have the coolest background in the sphere. Oh,
thank you. I'm working on trying to get some new posters, but ain't no posters came out.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know, yeah. I would go to Comic-Cons and collect posters, but ain't been no Comic-Cons.
Truth. I'm working on lowering my posters, so because I know it looks weird on the aesthetic. Let's see. Do we have any more super chats? No. Okay. So one Streamlab here is this is from Soulless, and he spells it like Seoul, North Korea. Seoul, or sorry, Seoul, South Korea. Soulless one. As a fellow Chicagoan, what is your opinion of Lori Lightfoot? She recently spent $281.5 million in federal COVID money. She recently spent $281.5 million in federal COVID-19 relief fund money on the police payroll. Yeah, what is your feeling about Lori Lightfoot?
Look, people elected a cop. What did they expect?
Yeah,
it was literally the devil you know versus the devil you don't when it came to Lori Lightfoot versus Tony Preckwinkle for the mayor of Chicago. Preckwinkle probably wouldn't have been. Preckwinkle wasn't just as openly about the police. Everybody knew Lori Lightfoot was with the cops.
Yeah,
Lori Lightfoot is a cop. Like, why is anybody surprised? Just because she wanted the most, like the mayor of Chicago gangbang, like she wanted the Black P Stones. That's the Stones who we talked about in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah.
The Stones, the Disciple. Yo, gangs in Chicago got shouted out in that movie. I was like, as a former GD, I was like, oh, so forth. All right. Anyway, but yeah, the mayor of Chicago is a cop.
Yeah.
Why do people think otherwise? As at her heart, she's a cop.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I know I saw that video a few weeks ago of that she was trying to block that video from coming out, showing the cops breaking into the wrong Black woman's house, and she was like sleeping in her bed, and she was naked. They wouldn't let her put on her clothes. She had to grab the blanket. That's all they let her put on while they searched the apartment. It was a completely wrong apartment, and she tried to keep that from coming out. It's like that kind of shit. Like, it's almost a betrayal to have a Black mayor not allow this kind of police misconduct to be out there. It's all got to be out there so people can make an educated opinion about what's happening.
Well, but here's the problem. Here's the only problem with that statement. When we say people can make an educated opinion, like the opinion means nothing though at the end of the day. We can have our opinions and we're going to voice them. Again, the action comes behind
fair point.
The voting. So like when Lori Lightfoot is up for re-election, if there's not a credible candidate against her, just as it is with any election, with any elected official, if there's not a credible candidate against them, the person you don't want to be in office stays in office. Because people are like, oh, well, I don't like either one. I'm not voting. Guess what happens? That person stays in office. Again, everybody kept talking, I keep seeing that Captain Kangaroo, Terrence Williams on Twitter talking about, I thought 81 million people voted for Joe Biden. Where's the supporters? 81 million people didn't like Joe Biden. 81 million people just hated Donald Trump. There's a difference. So it's using those type of things. You gotta look. A cop is like the thin blue line is a thing.
Yep, it's real.
No matter what, it's real.
Yep,
it's real.
We're 3 likes away from 150. So if you haven't hit like, the thumbs up button on this video, would really appreciate it. Those of you who are watching later, please leave a like and a comment. Comments and likes elevate the visibility. Let's bring on 2 more live guests, and then we're out of here. Jake Yakoveta. Wow, rare appearance on the Outlaw Nation Show. What is up, Jake? What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, why you got that mountain man ass beard? Like you just was like, fuck it, I'm growing this all out.
I like it.
And I don't go anywhere. I stay at home. Who am I impressed?
Jake was just like,
no, Jay, to bounce off of what Cal was saying, am I Black?
We're not gonna have me do this today. No, we're not. That's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna have me answer this question and then have goddamn it the whole internet coming after me responding to this shit. No, you won't. You'll see Kevin Hart's fucking face and his pulsating ass ring around. I'll have me fucking answer this question. You sir, not better send me off like that.
That was worth it. That was worth it.
Fucking with you. Shout out to Wayne. He brought up a lot of good points.
Yes. I like Wayne a lot, man.
But I do not believe that he is 50 because his hairline looks better than mine was when I was 19.
Don't crack, baby. Black don't crack. Unless we're doing crack. But black don't crack, baby. Black.
His face was smoother than mine. I was shocked.
Let me say something. Black people, as long as we drinking some good water, some shea butter, and aloe vera, won't know if we 30 or 90, goddamn.
Wow. Yeah. Danny Glover looks 25 still. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but he talk like he 138 years old. Danny Glover been talking like that since he was 48. They be like, Danny, what's wrong with you? I'm the soul of a slave. Like, what? Well, Sammy Sosa, no, he didn't crack. He did what's called all the chlorine. Sammy Sosa took a box of Clorox and poured it on his face.
He did the white dip. He dipped himself in white and pulled himself out. What's up, Jake? What, you got a question? You're just hanging out.
Man, I'm just chilling. You were talking about Sam Cooke earlier. That was one thing I wanted to bring up. I have issues with like anxiety and shit. And Sam Cooke is usually my go-to.
Oh yeah.
To kind of bring me down, especially summertime.
Oh yeah.
Like that one is so fucking smooth. Like it helps relax everything that's going on in my head.
Hold on. First of all, look.
What up, Aisha?
Look, Jake is cool, but we got to talk to the committee before we keep inviting people to the cookout. Look, sorry, Jake,
I got invited. Yeah, I'm sure.
By who?
I'm showing up with some raisins in my potato salad. I'm showing up.
I mean, you definitely ain't showing up.
Get this motherfucker out.
Fucker out of his
Shit,
own.
I probably paid for the cookout. Fuck off, both of you. All right, give me.
You ain't paying. Let me tell you something. You ain't paying for that cookout.
Oh man, I'll bring some.
No, also, I have been watching, and y'all were talking about white people in Kentucky. I lived there for about 10 years. I will say that when you're in a spot like Lexington or Louisville, it's very different than when you're in one of those little buttfuck spots like Covington or one of those little shitty areas. Like in the big cities, it is very, very, very blue.
Yeah.
So it's not all of Kentucky, but fuck the rest of them.
No, but it's like that with a lot of, again, like you say, those big city, Chicago in itself, yeah. But if you go outside of Chicago, you're like, oh, this is some bull. I used to do shows in places where we were like, after we were doing stand-up shows and pro wrestling shows where it's like, yo, can we hurry up and get paid so we can get the fuck out of here so we can at least get to the expressway? Like, I don't want to be on these roads. I need to get on the freeway and the highway and go. Like, I have my chances that way instead of being on these back roads.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I was a concert promoter and a DJ for a long time, and we would have to go to those little small towns. And it was like, oh, we're not welcome here.
Yep.
It can be quite dangerous. Yeah, I grew up in the South, and you drive around through the South in certain states, certain areas, certain cities, man, you know immediately the vibe completely changes when you go into a certain area, and it can chill you to the bone. It can chill you to the bone, man.
Bro, I did a show in Syracuse. I will always tell people about this. I did a stand-up show in Syracuse, Indiana. I have to bring that up because when people hear Syracuse, they think New York.
Right.
Syracuse, Indiana, the only thing blacker than me there was the night sky. First of all, I literally go doing a comedy show at a bar there. I'm driving there because I rented a car. I'm driving. I pass an Amish community. I'm like, fuck me. Because the buggy's got actual tail lights on it with brakes and shit. I was like, this ain't cool. I get to the bar. I bullshit y'all not. I walk in the door. It is almost like you hear the record scratch off the needle. Everybody looks at me. I'm like, okay, I'm here for the show. I'm literally on the flyer for the show. My face is on the flyer. But like, it was just a shock to see the black dude from the thing come in. I do the show. Me and my boy Peter. My boy Peter's Mexican. Show's great. We have fun. So after the show, selling merchandise, selling t-shirts and everything. One white dude walk up to me, slap me on the shoulder and say, you know what? You're one of the good ones. I was like, well, time to pack this shit up and get the fuck on up out of here. That was it for me. I was done. I was out. I was like, nope.
You're one of the good ones.
That was it.
Was it like Dave Chappelle? You go into the diner and they said, let me guess, the chicken.
That's what it felt like, y'all. Let me get. You want the watermelon martini, don't you? Bitch, I don't want to drink. Like, I just want water. You're not gonna get me killed.
I love it.
No, I just wanted to pop in, say what's up. It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right,
John,
brother.
you know I love you.
I love you too,
Jay.
Jake.
I don't think we've actually been on a stream.
Yes, we
together
have
before.
Yes, we have. We've been on this one before.
All right.
We were on this one before.
Okay.
This one or Roxy's. It was this one or Roxy's, but you've been on before because you was like out. You were on the road.
Oh, he's on Roxy's all the time. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was probably Roxy's because you were on
Everybody
the road.
Knows that. Yeah.
You were on the road doing some.
Man, I just do too much. I don't fucking
see.
Thank you. I say thank you because you do a lot for all.
But salute to both of y'all. Love y'all.
Too,
thank you for everything.
Thank you, man.
All right, brother.
And can't wait to see what you got coming up next.
Right.
And also, Aisha, I see you. You fine as fuck.
Oh boy. All right. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it. All right.
Jake,
there it is.
Jake, let me just say this.
He's a dog.
No, here's the South Side Chicago for me. Jake got all the hoes. Like he got all. Like he get them. Like Jake be the type of person you be like, yo, can some of us holler at him? Jake be like, hey man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those guys. He's a smooth talker like that. He's like, yo, whatever, man.
And next thing you know, they just like, oh.
He talks so slow and he's so relaxed and he's so confident in his own skin. Yeah, I love it. Come take me somewhere. Dick Aisha says, hell yeah, Jake. LOL. Aisha also put something out there. Yeah. So who said that? Oh yeah. Aisha put in something here about the raisins. She says, no raisins in the salad. Sign the management.
Yeah, you don't put no raisins on goddamn salad.
I appreciate that. All right, let's bring on Josh Mabry. He's our last guest. Josh, what's going on, my man?
Doing pretty good. Just trying to stay warm here in Nashville. We're getting about 3 inches on top of another stuff of ice. So on top of that, so we feel like Chicago, and we're not supposed to be.
I know a lot of people say that like we're not supposed to feel like this.
No, I mean I'm from actually. When you brought up Kentucky, I'm born and raised in Louisville.
Okay.
So anyway, basically to quote what Killer Mike said, like about Atlanta, outside of Atlanta is Georgia. Right. So that's how it is with Louisville and Lexington. So kind of like there's Hazard, Kentucky, which the Justified show was based off of. That's pretty factual about how Hazard, Kentucky is. Like if a school, like when they do like the Sweet 16 for the high school, like the counties, whoever wins in those districts, and then they play in Rupp. Like Hazard, Kentucky was like throwing food and stuff at like Pleasure Ridge Park, which my dad works at, which is a high school out of Louisville. I mean, that was back in like the 70s, 80s when my mom was telling me that story because she was like teaching for the cheerleaders and stuff. So like that was she was like Hazard, Kentucky. So every time I met somebody from Hazard, I'm like, you're probably just super racist, and it's okay. It's not okay, but I'm just saying like. But as far as like movies about people from Kentucky, African Americans, mean Ali, but there's that, but that's as far as it goes.
My boy, one of my best friends, who he just got cast as one of the Sparrows in the Umbrella Academy.
Nice.
From Louisville. My boy Justin Cornwell. He played young Geronicus in Jingle Jangle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I need to catch Jingle Jangle. That's the one thing because I remember you hyping it up around Christmas season, saying how amazing it was. Mm-hmm. I saw bits and pieces, especially like the choreography and stuff of the bits and pieces I saw was amazing. By the way, I have seen Booty Call. When it was on Comedy Central way back when. I was a huge In Living Color fan, so shout out to that show. That show was amazing.
Yep.
So like when Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx were on it, plus like anything when you put Tommy Davidson, which he should have, I always liked him on In Living Color, and so like I was always happy like when he was in something, I would see it just because how good he was, especially with him and David Allen Greer when they would do their little bits together. But anyway, and then I actually got The Brothers and the Best Men.
That is wrong person. You just did. David Allen Greer did that with Damon Wayans.
That's what I'm saying.
No, not talking about that.
No, I'm talking to Rocha.
I'm saying David Allen Greer did that. I didn't say.
I just want to make sure.
And then when he would go and play play the blues guitar guy.
Don't you come at me? I know my black comics.
Oh, he's about David Allen. He's about David Allen Greer. But he's like,
yeah, and he's like wrote a song about it. Like here it goes.
Here you go.
And he would just like call out like everybody and like, oh wait, don't do that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know, I'm fresh out of business. Bam!
Yep.
And then when you asked the question about the brothers, I actually thought about The Best Man and Don't Hate Me, because that's kind of like the same premise. Morris Chestnut was in both of them.
Again, when you say black cinema, Morris Chestnut name comes up.
True. Very true.
What's that movie with him and Jamie Foxx where Jamie Foxx like
Breaking All the Rules is one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie.
It's when Jamie Foxx has the worst hair ever in any movie he's ever been. Have you ever seen it, Rocha?
Yeah, I have actually. Yeah,
it's Jamie Foxx, Morris Chestnut, Gabrielle Union, Anthony. It's Anthony Anderson. No,
Anthony Anderson. I thought
that's because we think that's who can play that game.
That was with Vivica Fox in that one.
That's Vivica Fox. Yeah. But again, when you see how we doing black movies, y'all, and again, Morris Chestnut and all this shit.
Yeah, and Be Like Mike with Lil Bow Wow.
I like this one.
Or Like Mike, whatever.
I'm gonna get you, sucker. That one I went to see multiple times. I think it's Chappelle is in that movie, and he has that whole scene where he's like, "How much for a woman?"
That's Chris Rock.
That's Chris Rock.
Oh, my bad.
How dare you?
That's Chris Rock. Don't come me about black comics.
That movie is currently on Hulu and Prime Video. I watch it repeatedly.
Blank Man. That's a good one.
Blank Man is so underrated. It is criminal. It is criminal how underrated Blank Man is.
Meteor Man?
No, that was a different one.
No,
they're two different. Meteor Man is so underrated as well, but also people don't know Meteor Man was taken from Robert Townsend's real life dealing with the vice lords on the West Side.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
The Blank Man was with Damon Wayans, right?
Damon Wayans and David Alan Grier.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So, but anyway, actually, just bringing those things up. But my question actually was, obviously, I help Rocha out with game time and stuff, giving them stats when I can. But my question is, obviously, this is my team, so I know me and Winston are cool, and we also our organizations are terrible.
Look,
so,
listen. There's an argument whether we are going to get Carson Wentz, and I'm like, why is this even a discussion?
That was one that asked that the other day, and I just want to see a reaction on that. But anyway, if you were speaking about that, if you were the Bears GM, like tomorrow, they said Mr. Jay Washington is the Bears GM. What would be the steps that you would make to make them? Because they already have the defense, like they're pretty much kind of a quarterback away. But I think maybe their coach tries to overcoach the offense. He tries to be.
I would get.
But what would you do?
I'm getting a new head coach.
Okay.
A new head coach.
Okay.
I'm skeptical of my OC, but I'm getting a quarterback that is not one. I'm looking around for my quarterbacks. I'm looking around and seeing what I got, and because I know if I wanted a Deshaun Watson, for instance, I got to give up most of the defense. I'm not doing. Right. I'm not getting anybody. I got to give up my essentials. I'm getting somebody. I'm like, all they need is a moment, is a shot. To be quite honest, I would see what Tyrod Taylor does, because remember, we keep forgetting about dude because Justin Herbert took over after the doctor almost killed him. Let's just be real. I'm looking for a solid quarterback. Not know, he has his moments. I need a solid QB. I need a solid O-line. We don't hear about nobody talk. We don't talk about people building solid O-lines anymore when you think about it. We hear him building up the defensive lines.
Well, Brady does it.
Well, but Brady's a rarity because he knows it though. Brady's like, yo, you can get me receivers all day. You can bring all these Pro Bowl receivers all day, every day. But if don't nobody protect me and I don't have time to throw it to him, it don't mean shit.
Yeah.
So Brady has learned that. Again, Patrick Mahomes had that, but two of them went down, and then one had to switch spots. So you build out what you need to build. So it's so much.
So say if you got Tyrod, and just because this kind of been a trend is like, all right, we got Tyrod, let's draft a quarterback. Would you take a quarterback in the draft if it was there? Okay.
I'm taking a high level offensive lineman.
Hopefully you get another Zach Martin.
Because that's who we need. Because we need a tackle. Like I'm definitely getting it all. Because again, everybody like, let's get a quarterback, let's get a receiver, let's get a running back. I can look, you've got a receiver. You got receivers.
Yeah,
you got a receiver. You got running backs. You got that. I need a line because fucking David Montgomery can run if they can make him holes. I need a line that can make holes.
Hello.
I'm building my line.
So would you get your OC? Would you try and get like a Shanahan style offensive coordinator because of how he runs his run scheme is? So you probably, I mean, that's the hot ticket right now. Is most coaches right now are all Shanahan, like the successful ones are based off the Shanahan coaching tree.
Yeah,
LaFleur, obviously Shanahan, and then I forget the other one was that's been successful. But you see a lot of coaches like, remember when they used to be like, if Sean McVay was in an elevator with somebody, we got to hire him because he was in an elevator with Sean McVay.
He was in an elevator with Sean McVay.
Right. And so now it's like Shanahan. That system is like the new hotness now. And
but that's what I'm saying. Why would I not get it? I'm be able to, if I got a quarterback I know can throw, if I can get, I can get the deep ball when I need it. I can get the quick pop 5-7 yards when I need it. I need to be able to take care of the ground game because if I don't have a ground game, there's nothing because you're going to shut down my receivers. If you know we ain't got a ground game, all you know I got to do is shut down your receivers. I'm good.
That's true. Cheryl put it best. I love y'all, but game time's on Monday. Yeah, we're done.
Oh, whatever.
That's enough. All right, we got to go to bed, man. You can't have 75 questions about the Bears. What do you got? What's your last question?
Oh, that was really it because I don't want to game time it up. So
a future Finstock Exchange member Peggy Gubbins is up in here. Peggy, good to see you.
Oh, she's a member. Hey, put that picture back up. Hey,
she said the line is the heart and soul of any team. Listen, this is a respectful program.
I'm being respectful. I'm looking at a great picture.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, because she's a member of the exchange. All of a sudden,
she's not a member of the exchange. We wanted her to be a member of the exchange.
Oh, I thought it was.
Someone took her 2 picks before we could get her. She was all set. We were ready to announce that thing. But she said the line is the heart and soul of any team. Is the engine. If you have zero protection, zero gaps being open, it doesn't matter how talented your skilled
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
Peggy gets it. Peggy understands.
You win the trenches, you win the game.
Yep.
It's true.
So,
all right, awesome. Thank you, Josh Mabry, man. It's always good to see you, brother.
Yep.
Good seeing you, brother.
Thanks for coming in. All right, let's wrap it up, Jay. We got ourselves a long night ahead of us of you trying to recover from your workout, me trying to go to bed.
I'm about to probably do another workout. I'm probably going to take another pre-workout and possibly do another workout.
Why don't you sleep, man?
What is that? What is that? What is that?
All right. No, Cheryl, that's not what we're saying. Jesus Christ.
Ooh.
Oh, my God, Cheryl.
Hey, let me tell you something. First of all, Aisha, there's no thirst here. I have my sparkling water. Thank you.
And Aisha can't complain about thirst when Jake Yacovetta put it right down on the table. All right, thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Outlaw Nation Show. Big thanks to my brother in life, Jay Washington,
for coming on. Me, bro.
Bro, you came off a plane to come and do the show, man. I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I know you probably are exhausted and what have you. So for you to take the time over 2 hours hanging out with me and the crew, the Outlaw Nation crew, can't thank you enough, my man.
No problem, man. If I had, so I told you I was going to do it, I'm going to do it. I enjoy this. I enjoy being able to have candid conversations about things. Always don't have to be in the sphere of, movies and film and even just comic book stuff like that. So to be able to have these discussions and somebody who wants to have them and genuinely have them, I'm very much I'm very much grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. But where can people find you? Plug everything you got going on, my man.
Man, it's down below. Twitter, Instagram, Mr. J Washington. Please follow. I say this all the time, myself and Winston. Those numbers and follows matter. When it comes to getting gigs, even regular acting gigs. You would be surprised how much it matters. My Patreon, if you want to join the Super Villain Squad, I'm gonna start doing some more wrestling stuff on there. Blurts in the Hood, though, every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast with myself and Winston A. Marshall. We get everybody caught up on the world of pop culture, entertainment, sports, news, politics, a whole lot more from a Blurts perspective, and we are unapologetically black. So come hang out with us. It's on youtube.com and twitch.tv/Blurts in the Hood, BLERDS, the letter NTHEHOOD, and the Mad Titan podcast, where I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universe. It's Barbershop Talk for Nerds, and my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAY Washington 80. My review for Black Lightning. I'm the only person I've heard that is reviewing Black Lightning, and God damn it, that is a crime. I will stay. I don't give a fuck if that show is ending. I've been a part of that family. They haven't sent me as part of that family. I just never been on the show. Like, I've been a part of that family. I'm cool with the cast and the crew and everybody. I will consistently review it. My WandaVision reviews are coming up. Also, real quick before we go. So you saw WandaVision, right?
I did.
Do you know what a cataract is?
Yes, of course I do. I have one in my left eye. I'm still waiting to get.
What does a cataract give you sometimes?
It's the loss of vision,
but also gives you double vision.
Right. It can give. What? No, wait. The cataract can.
A cataract can cause you to have a.
Yes.
But you know what that means? He's making another vision, aka Wonder Man.
I think he's making.
He's making Wonder Man.
Ultron. I think he's making another Ultron.
He's making
I think
Wonder
they want Ultron to come back.
I'm gonna tell you why he's making Wonder Man. Jack Schaefer had a picture of him in the thing when they did an interview with her, behind with like all the stuff. Jack Schaefer had a picture of Wonder Man behind her, and everybody was like, "Why is Simon Williams there?" He is making Wonder Man.
Possibly because that's West Coast Avengers. That's Gray Vision. That's absolutely right, Jay.
He's making Wonder Man.
Yep, and we saw his brother's helmet, the Grim Reaper, in the second episode during the opening credits. So
also think about this. This is how you know he's making another Vision.
Yeah.
Why would remember when Wanda breaks in the sword? Why is Vision taken apart? Vision just had his forehead ripped out.
Right.
There was no reason for Vision to be pulled. Like people like, oh, well, he was dead. Vision wasn't torn apart. Vision just had his whole forehead ripped out. He's making Wonder Man. He fuck around and say, I was trying to make a vision. I had a vision, but it was a Wonder Man, and it's not Mephisto. More than likely, it's Dormammu that's controlling Wanda.
Yeah, Dormammu has been mentioned on our show as well on the Geek Buddies, possibly. I don't think, and I proposed this 2 weeks ago, I don't think that was Wanda who came out of the energy field to throw that drone back at Hayward. I don't think that's Wanda at all. And I don't think that's Wanda. I don't think that's Wanda who broke in and stole Vision either. I think that's something else. And we're going.
Oh, hold on. Before you go, let me tell you something real quick. You know why the thing was Yo Magic?
Yeah, take it. Why?
Because she hasn't used magic yet.
Well, it's also because every time she tries to use her magic, it doesn't stop people from dying.
No, Wanda she doesn't realize she can use magic.
Oh,
Wanda uses
Yomamu, like Dormammu. Oh, maybe.
Wanda only uses the power from the Mind Stone, but she'll finally learn how to use magic, which in terms will give her the name Scarlet Witch.
Oh, we shall see. We shall see. Certainly, everybody's got their thoughts and everybody's got their speculations. We're going to find out next 3 episodes for sure, Jay. I'm looking forward to it. It's been a great show. They haven't confirmed it. We'll see.
Feige did.
Feige just did? He confirmed it's an hour?
Ben did it. Feige Ben did it. Said like the last 3 are an hour each.
Okay. All right. We shall see. We shall see. All right, brother. I'm going to let you go do your thing, Jay. I love you madly, brother.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
Yeah, definitely. That was Jay Washington, ladies and gentlemen. You guys enjoyed a night with my brother, Jay Washington. It is always a blast for me to sit down with him and talk. We are men of older age, so to sit down and talk about issues that are going on in our worlds from the decades of perspective that we have experiencing it, growing up in this country, now becoming older, a little more wiser, looking back on things, and then also analyzing what's happening in our world now. It's always a pleasure to do that with Jay, and just, as he said, happy, candid conversations about these situations and about the things that are going on in our world. Hope you all enjoyed that. And yeah, both of us can't recommend Judas and the Black Messiah to you enough. It is on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, watch this thing. Trust me, it's a goddamn good movie. Yes, will it wring your emotions dry? Possibly, sure, but it is worth it because of the incredible performances, but also the historical story that, although it's set in 1968, don't be surprised that as you're watching it, that it feels very resonant to what's happening in our streets now in 2021. So think about that when you watch it. Also appreciated Jay, giving up some stories about his upbringing there in Chicago, and hearing the stories about Black Panthers and their interactions with the police back in the 60s, 1960s for sure. That was great to hear as well, and his thoughts on Black History Month. So, and of course, the Schmodown, all the stuff that was brought up. You all brought up excellent questions. Thank you so much for the super chats and the Streamlabs that you sent in tonight. Really appreciate it. Those are the things that keep the lights on here on the Outlaw Nation Network. And as we're building and growing, look, we're almost close to 17,000 or 16,000. We're about to cross 17. Where are we at, Jay? Where are we at? We're about to cross 16,000 subscribers, right? Right. We're about to cross 6. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please, down below, hit that subscribe button. We do so much content here. The Outlaw Nation Show, the Geek Buddies Show, Impolite Truths, which will be live tomorrow night at 5 p.m. PT. Also, we do the wrestling show on Fridays, the sports show on Mondays, and there'll be more reviews and trailer reactions coming from us here on the Outlaw Nation, plus the Schmodown, the Schmodown after show, the ultimate Schmodown after show that's on Saturdays. That is out there as well. Plus the Geek Buddies WandaVision reviews that we drop on Saturday. So all of that is happening here on the channel, and a new show is coming March 5th. As I tweeted yesterday, I had a great meeting with my future co-host. She is not someone that you have seen on the channel before hosting a show on this channel. So I can't wait to announce that show and put it forward. I'll be looking for a graphic designer very soon. And if you're good at logos, if you're good at creating motion logos like you see on my channel that are at the quality that Brian Ward, because Brian Ward has designed all my graphics, my overlays by Jake Yacovetta, but the logos and the graphics and the opening video intros for every one of my shows were done by Brian Ward. If you've got that kind of level of talent, reach out to me. There is pay involved. I'm looking for someone to bring some interesting new look to this show that I'm going to be doing here starting March 5th. So, all right, thanks everybody for joining me. Please follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. I will be on Video Drew's show on Sunday night if you want to see me. Also, I'll be hosting SEN Live on Friday morning. And tomorrow, the Top 10 show goes live at noon for our $10 and above patrons. So if you're a patron of the Top 10 show, you can watch our show live, comment on our lists. We'll bring you in and hear your thoughts as well, or bring your chats in and hear your thoughts as we're counting down the show. And we're going to be doing oh no, I can't reveal it, right? I can't reveal it. It's only for our patrons. If you want to come on, if you're $10 and above, come and enjoy us counting down. It's a really big list. It's a great subject. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. All right, that's it from me. Thanks to Sean Barreto, my producer here. He is fantastic. And we will talk to you next week. Oh, yeah, I should end the show like I always end the show. Sometimes I forget. I apologize. Please, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's been a fantastic conversation. And both Jay and I have been through our struggles with mental health, respectively, in our lives, and we have found our way through it. And we are creating content, generating things that people are watching and enjoying and listening to and commenting on and talking to us about. And it's our humble blessings to be able to do so, but we wouldn't have been able to do so if we hadn't found our way through the toughest times in our lives. So I just want to encourage you all once again, whatever you need to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year, please, I want you to find your way to do that, because you never know what's waiting for you on the other side. I'm telling you, it just might surprise you. You never know. All right. I love you. Thank you for being a part of the Outlaw Nation. And we'll talk to you next week with another brand new episode. Please practice social distancing, wear your mask, and be safe. Much love and peace.